Hey, what's up, everybody? I just saw, you guys know who she's in our chat sometimes. Her name is Deborah Newland, I think. Is that her name? Yeah. She just put a pretty interesting post out about Brad Barton. Sorry I'm late. I'm running on about 2 hours of sleep. You know, everything's going wrong. I got a normal day at the Bird Curse, I guess. Normal day. Burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They want to let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. That wasn't for you, Itsuko. That was for my real fans. People that aren't too busy fucking golfing to watch the show and whatnot. If your husband can watch, that's fine. I talk shit about Dr. J for free. Tell your husband in relation to being married to you. Just tell him, I'm sorry. He'll know what I mean. He'll know. You guys ready to hear about the Bird Curse? Look out. Should be pretty good. Oh, I see some people subscribing. Thank you. It'll play the things in a minute. I'll thank everybody. I think a lot of people subscribe at the very first part of the show because it doesn't do the whole like noise and sound and stuff. Plus, they probably see an ad when they first show up. This show is brought to you by Old Ford School District Teacher Union. Not to be confused with any actual entity that actually exists, just in case you were wondering. Let me see here. Hold on. That was the music. That was a timer. All right, here we go. Roll the intro.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bard, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. Bard Car strikes again. I was actually planning on being kind of early today, but we'll talk about that in a second. Thank you guys for coming out. This show was bought and paid for by one Miss Jess. That's the only name I got, and she paid with cashier's check. So who knows what's actually happening in there. Thank you guys for joining us. We got a couple things to go over. We'll talk about a couple things that's happening around the space involving the grifters. I found it as I was firing up the show. I told some of you guys, if you're in here already, there's a pretty interesting post that came out about Brad Barton from someone I trust quite a bit. She's in my oh God, what's the name of the Facebook group I manage? I can't even remember the name of the group, but she's in that group, and she sent me things before, obviously, and she's usually pretty reliable about it. So we'll talk about that, the new information that came out about Brad Barton. We'll talk about a couple more things. We'll watch some videos, have some fun. It is what is the name of that fucking group? Hold on, I'll find it now that I got that window closed. The Debunking Crew. The Debunking Crew. No, the Golden Shower group got shut down. Thank you, Cubs fan. Everybody else has said it. Isn't she funded by the union? I don't know if she's funded by the union or if they just protect her while she throws on a video for her students to watch while she plays around on Telegram for 12 hours a day. This is a fictional person that we're talking about. So who knows? They could basically be doing anything. I don't even think they exist. I don't think they're real. Let me switch the screen around. Guys, again, thank you for joining us. You know how to support the show. I get tired of saying it. I feel like a shill. Go to coldbeer.fund. All my links at the top. Twitch, Kick, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Facebook, TikTok, Rumble, Discord, and Bovada. Bovada is an affiliate link. Use the things on the left to donate. I saw that. I think Austin sent in a donation right before I went live, or right before I was planning on going live, but then I got sidetracked. We'll play that first. You can do Buy Me a Coffee, which is a text-based donation. So you type out a message, whatever you want to say, you want me to read, and do that. You can do a private donation with the button all the way down at the bottom. I'll be the only person that knows. And then you can do Buy Me a Coffee, which is a audio or video-based message. Buy Me a Coffee has been slacking this go around. Donate through Buy Me a Coffee. I don't want them to think that I'm like not used them anymore. Patty says, love your show, with a $50 donation over on Rumble. Thank you very much, Patty. I appreciate that. Thanks for watching on Rumble. I know we got some people that watch there pretty regularly. And we're there every night, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's a kick only. That's the only place we're at. But thank you for watching over on Rumble, and thank you for that donation. Yeah, y'all are it's not like donations are down. I think donations are probably normal. But, like, I don't know. People are moving away from Buy Me a Coffee, assholes. They used to like me over there. Now they probably hate me. Anyways, here is an example of a dono clip here. This one's from Ramesh, enemy of the show.
Wilbur, this is Ramesh. My question is for Jess. What color is the sky in your fantasy world in your mind dreams?
What color is the sky in your fantasy world and your mind dreams? Hard to say. One more time so we can all answer.
Wilbur, this is Ramesh. My question is for Jess. What color is the sky in your fantasy world in your mind dreams?
In your mind dreams. I don't know, but she's quite the fictional character, huh? So if you don't know what everybody's talking about, Jess made a post, which I think, honestly, kind of exemplifies why you can't trust anything she says. By the way, if you've texted me in the last few hours, my phone is all messed up. I'm getting text in batches. Like, I won't get a text for like 6 hours, and then I'll get like 30 of them. And some of them were from like 5.5 hours ago. So I don't know what's going on there. I just got a bunch right as I was starting the show. I probably got like 25 messages, and they were from much earlier. Anyways, Jess made this post. over in that group that I'm not in. Someone says, someone told Jess if they wanted the lowdown, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but if they wanted the lowdown on Oliver's mom to watch my show from last night because I broke it down and showed why Oliver's mom's social media should be monitored or something like that, right? And then Jess says something like, oh, yeah, but too bad he doesn't have the obvious pegged. Okay. So I guess she's assuming that I should have the obvious
Always
peg, which
enjoy.
the obvious to
Thank
her
you,
would be
Will.
that Pebbles is involved in a fictional lawsuit with a fictional attorney, and that all the documents that are literally filed with Pacer are all made up and none of them really exist. I'm here to tell you they're real. But apparently that's the obvious I'm supposed to see. And then someone else responded, Oliver's mom's responded, whatever gets the attention. And then Jess says this, which I thought was weird. She says, Pebbles keeps paying Will to do shows on us, but we're the obsessed ones. Laugh out loud and make that make sense. And I think that takes a shot at her credibility. Like no one has proof that I've ever done a show that someone's paid me for, short of like advertisers, right? Like we've done a show for like those games that we advertised and HelloFresh and stuff like that. But like as like for personal gain or even negative attention, no one's ever paid me to do a show for any of that. So I don't even know where that came from. I guarantee you she can't have a shred of evidence. Even when Phil was gonna buy me off, the number was way too low. So I don't know who's out here thinks that they're buying my show, but it'd have to be a lot of. I'm not saying my show's not for sale. Look, if you wanna buy my show is for sale. Okay, there is an amount of money that I will sell this motherfucker for. But I'm going to warn you, even Phil was missing some zeros on his offer, okay? And he's got money coming out his fucking ears. But no one to this day, and that's like a pretty substantial claim, right? That's not even like alluding to like, I think Pebbles pays Will to do shows. Because someone follows it up. So Jess says, Will's making shows on us, and Pebbles is paying it, like talking shit about that group, the Nose Crew or whatever they're calling themselves now. Then someone says, Mama Dukes, I don't even know who the fuck that is, but it says, clearly she missed the entire point because she says she pays him to do shows about her lawsuit. Well, that wasn't the claim at all. Then they put a bunch of laughing emojis, and it says, I thought they were tight. So this is just a brand new claim that she's like, oh, she does that? That's crazy. But she's just making a completely different claim. But both those claims are not true. I've been twice now, the Toucan crew. Twice now I've been offered amounts of money from two different people for favorable coverage or no coverage, whatever, coverage that would benefit them personally by people in this sphere twice. And both times I've turned them down, not because I'm going to be like, I'll never sell out, not because it's like a moral high ground, but I do value my morals. And me holding people to account. But I could put a number on that. I'm not saying I couldn't. Like it would be stupid and I would be lying if I come up here and said no amount of money would ever make me do a show like that. There is an amount of money. Now I'm sure there is what if someone offered me like $5 billion? Of course. Yeah, let's get it. I'll do whatever fucking show you want for $5 billion. But yeah, of course there's an amount of money. I'm not an idiot. I've got a family and a life and troubles and bills and shit too. It's not the number isn't $5 billion either. It's a lot lower than that, but it's at least six figures. So it's at least it's a mid six figures, I would say. So it's not like people are out here just buying fucking shows. You know what I mean? But I'm also not gonna lie to you and say nobody could ever buy me out. It's not worth it. My morals, blah. Fuck you. I'll flip you off in a TikTok video for my Ferrari. Okay, there is a number. There is a number for sure. It's just no one's ever met that. And two different people from this grifter world, I guess, two different grifters is what I would call them, have both tried to buy me out before. And I genuinely told them, like, look, there's a lot going on with like my morals. Plus it would have to be like basically like a life-changing sum. And you're nowhere near that. If you put some more zeros on it, maybe this is what I would do it for. And both of them backed out of that at that point. I think they just thought maybe for like a very, very small amount of money, they could get me to disappear and stop being like a thorn in their side. But honestly, that just makes me want to persevere more. Like if I know I'm getting to you enough that you want to offer me money to stop, that just makes me want to go harder, right? But I can be bought out. I don't want to sit up here and like moral grandstand you guys like I'm on the moral high ground here. Like no amount of money would ever change of course, it would change everybody's views. Hell, everybody in chat right now, a certain amount of money, especially if you're not independently wealthy, and I'm talking about like having tons of money in the bank. If you're not independently wealthy, there's an amount of money that would change your views too. If someone come up to you and said, hey, I'll give you $300,000 if you never watch Will's show again, you'd be out of here in a heartbeat. And I wouldn't blame you. I'd be patting you on the back while you walked out the door. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It was just a weird claim. Like I thought maybe it would be a joke, or maybe it would have like, I don't know. It was just a definite claim, an affirmative claim that Pebbles is paying me. And then I thought maybe I'd see some evidence of this. I don't know. The only thing I can think is when I personally interact with Jess, my personal opinion is that she's dumb. So yesterday when she was messaging me, she said, I read these already, but she said, so you think this is funny? Cool. And I said, yeah, most of the time that's what I get paid to do. Like get paid to be funny, obviously. She said, so you think this is funny? Cool. And I said, yeah, most of the time that's what I get paid to do. Thank you. Maybe in whatever fucking goddamn muddy puddle, stomped to death, fucking ground beef coming out her ears, brain that's just been stomped down, thought that was me saying that I get paid to make content about her or something, because she was mad about sending me to the union or whatever. And then I told her that I was going to send her to the Muffin Man. And I told her to expect a letter postmarked from Drury Lane. I don't know. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. And then the reading comprehension over there is super low because she says, Will's getting paid to make a show about us. The very next comment says, Will's getting paid to make a show about court cases? I never would have guessed it. Like, maybe. Maybe. You about got it. So if you missed it, she says, all your stuff will be turned into my school. Expect a letter. All for Pebbles. Hope it was worth it. Also, Phil has a text message. I sent Pebbles. I was a fan of yours. Shame on you for blindly believing someone who doesn't deserve it. Now, again, she said all this while asking me to blindly believe her. She has no evidence. She didn't send any evidence. She has no proof. She has nothing. This was after she made a threat insinuating that I had something to do with her school being on lockdown. She's a teacher. That I had something to do with her school being on lockdown, and that the FBI was involved, and that I was going to be in trouble for it, but she's going to report me. Anyway, she says, believing someone who doesn't deserve it. And I said, sounds good, thanks. Also, just to cover my bases, and because it has just as much relevancy and will have just as much an effect, I will be reporting you to the Muffin Man. Expect a letter postmarked from Drury Lane. Now, she didn't like that. So she says, so you think this is funny? Cool. And I said, yeah, most of the time. That's what I get paid to do. Thank you. Maybe in her fucking brain. I don't know. I imagine there's like an old lady on a porch up there just like churning butter, and that's how it works. Which yesterday I saw, and I guess I can't validate this because I don't have the original screenshot. But yesterday I saw something that I didn't realize, I guess back when this happened, that it was apparently from Jess. So let me see if I can find this right quick. I'm not going to show it because I don't do stuff like this, but so this let me make sure I don't show it, to be honest with you. Let me grab this. So you guys know I don't agree with Katie J at all. Like, she runs the that group that we're all banned from, and if you're too close to me, you get banned from. They're fucking banning everybody. But one thing we don't do here is, like, I don't go after kids or somebody's kids or whatever. But apparently, according to this screenshot and according to Katie J and the people in this group that this screenshot was shared in, it says it's a Telegram message from Jess, and it says, "I just hate it because it's essentially doxing you. I fucking hate that dumb ass cunt, and I hope it has the opposite effect that you get slammed with business. I think I'm going to get together soon a fundraiser for her daughter's school. There's some fundraisers listed on their sites, and when it says who the donor is, it'll say Friends of Katie J or Katrina Johnson. Can you imagine if they made a Facebook post of it?" Then she shares a Facebook post. Now, this is a teacher, allegedly, if the screenshot's accurate. This is a teacher that already teaches in a school and that knows the policies around school and social media. Like, I was kind of astounded at one time with the policies around school and social media and all that shit. Like when Liam first started going to school, where they're like, well, we can't take photos inside the classroom because there might be kids in the background and this, that. You had to sign releases to get it posted on like the school's Facebook page. Like, there's a lot. She knows there's policies around this nowadays because some parents are more strict about it than others. You know, hell, you might have a kid in fucking witness protection or something. I live in BFE. Maybe all the kids are from witness protection. I've got no proof they were born here. But she would know policies around like social media and sharing stuff and doing stuff like that. So according to this screenshot, if the screenshot's accurate, this is Jess sharing a photo of the school where Katie J's daughter goes. And it says, the caption of this says, Jess is doxing Katie J's young child's school. And I believe Katie's daughter is actually in this photo. So it's a photo of four children there. And the school, it's the school's Facebook page. So it says the school's name. And it says, look at all the beautiful artwork our second graders made. Japanese art, fifth graders made something pets. And eighth graders made yummy sundaes. And it says, Jess is doxing Katie J's young child's school. And I believe Katie's daughter's in this photo. Later on, we will see Jess named one of her sock accounts after Katie J's then 8-year-old child's name. And then Katie J comes into that group and says, yeah, my daughter is in that photo. She's this one, which is crazy, right? Like a school teacher from a different district doxes someone's child's school with a picture of the child and puts it out there and is like, I'm gonna make a donation in her name. And just like, and what's even crazier is like, this photo didn't need to be posted. Like, even if she wanted to do this other shit, it says, I think I'm going to get together soon a fundraiser for her daughter's school. There's some fundraisers listed on the site. And when it says who the donor is, it'll say Friends of Katie J or Katrina Johnson. Can you imagine if they made a Facebook post of it and then some laughing emotes? Like, again, I don't see eye to eye with Katie J. We haven't gotten along in a long time. It's not like we're fighting right now. I'm not trying to say that or like anything like that. We just don't interact at all. But she didn't even need the picture to make that point. She put the picture out there. According to the screenshot, I think she just put the picture out there to just say, I know who your fucking kid is. And that's too far. Like, I mean, I show my kids on the screen and stuff, but I don't talk about anybody else's kids. I don't put anybody else's kids out there. I don't try to, like, I don't know. That seems wild to me. Does it not to you guys? I didn't realize it was already edited, but I can show you this photo. Here it is. I was afraid that there were still faces in it, and I didn't want to show any kids, but here's the photo. So it says, Jess Telegram. I just hate it because it's essentially doxing you, and I fucking hate that dumbass cunt. And I hope this has the opposite effect, that you get slammed with business. I think I'm going to get together soon a fundraiser for her daughter's school. There's some fundraisers listed on the site. And when it says who the donor is, it'll say Friends of Katie J or Katrina Johnson. Can you imagine if they made a Facebook post of it? Like, that's pretty wild, right? That's pretty wild. For a school teacher to do that. And I even responded, like, I don't ever talk to Katie J. She doesn't talk to me. We just haven't spoken in a long time. And I was like, hey, I know we don't see eye to eye, but this is too far. Like, involving kids is way too far. They all got in a tizzy and all fucking mad at me because I asked an old lady what the weather was like in the town she lived in because she shared her Facebook post. And I was like, it must suck. It must suck being like everybody knows who you are. Like, you got nothing to say now, right? Now that you're not hiding behind your fucking fake user account. Like, this is crazy. Don't get me wrong. People go after my kids all the time. But I like to stay above that. Like, I don't go after anybody else's kids. I might say I feel sorry for someone's kids, or that someone's like, I feel like they're neglecting their kids, or I feel like their kids don't have the greatest life. But I'm not going to post somebody's kids and be like, this is where they go to school at. This is their kid in this photo. And here's this, this, and this. Like, that's crazy, right? Is this me? I don't know. I think that's pretty fucking crazy. Anyways, that's all going on. They're about to get their shit straightened out. There has been a special request made. So I really didn't want to get involved too much in this. At all, really. I don't know. It's a lot to get involved in. But I didn't want to get involved in a lot of this. These people sit on Telegram fucking 14 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours a day and just yell at each other. Right? So I really didn't want to get involved in a lot of this, but then more stuff happened, and then they started making claims about me. And then there was Jess made a thread or whatever, like, you either come to me or I'm reporting this to my union. So I made the show. Then she messaged me. Then I got to cover it because, fuck, I put everything out there like an open book. So then I put that out there. But there's been a special request. And that request was made by someone in that group that said, let me see if I can grab it. I don't want to misquote anybody. Give me just a second. And I'm looking forward to honoring this request now. I wasn't going to, but if this is what the people want, this is what the people will get, I guess. Right? I can't turn down my adoring fans. What kind of guy would I be if I did that? So I really wasn't. I was just barely scratching the surface of this. I've got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of content on these people, and I was just kind of like trying to address what directly affected me, what was directly going on with me, and then moving on with the rest. Make a little joke and then go on about the rest of my fucking life, covering other things, but again. There's been a request, okay? So someone says, it was Oliver's mom forwarded a message that I was talking about earlier. It says, Jess, watch Will's live if you want a valid answer as to why Oliver's mom, needs her SM social media monitored. He has her pegged and you as well. And that's what Jess was just responding to and all that stuff, right? Well, then after that, when Mr. Mellon says, Mellon O'Mickle Dickerson, you guys know Mellon, right? He responds to it and says, I think it's weird. Either call everyone out or no one. That's how you lose respect. And if there's anything in this life that I crave, it's the respect of a former fucking crackhead that pimped out his girlfriend over text messages to catfish Phil. So if there's anything I'm going to win back in this life, if I have one thing left to do, I'm going to cover every single one of you motherfuckers. Then you can't say shit, right? So don't be crying. Don't be backpedaling. Don't change your fucking tune now. We'll cover everybody, every fucking detail. We'll do it all. So there you go. I need your respect back. I need your respect back, okay? Put down the pictures of Phil's dick that y'all are fucking mutual masturbation to. Pay attention. We're going to cover everybody. Anyways, that's what went over. That's what went on in the nose crew. I don't even know what to call it anymore. Then suddenly they all made renouncing statements. Hold on, let me go back to that. I forgot. I don't know what the fuck happened, but suddenly now they're all fucking bored with this and tired of it, and they're done, right? So let me read you some of these posts that just randomly popped up towards the end of this. Let me see. Where are we at? Okay, here we go. Walls of text. There's one. Sorry. There's another one. Okay, let me read you some of these. It doesn't matter. They all posted them, so it doesn't really matter. All right, here we go. Bye, bitches. I hit the wall today. I'm arguing with people I've never actually met, won't ever meet, and have no desire to meet. KDJ warned me and I didn't listen. I'm stubborn as hell and I never back down, but I hit the wall today. I regret very few things in life. Robin and Pebbles, meeting both of you is in the top 5. You're not about friendship and loyalty. You're about chaos. Neither one of you had the guts to own your own participation in the Eric text. Doesn't really matter, but in the big picture, it confirms who you both are. If you had an ounce of honesty, you would have owned it. There's not a single person in these groups who think the two of you are victims. They see you both very clearly. I'm not perfect. I should have told you both I wanted out from the friendship to your faces, but who expects 50-plus-year-old women to wage war? Spelled with way too many A's. Say whatever you want about me. My character speaks for itself. Like me or not, I'm good. Post screenshots, provide content. I literally don't give a fuck. It's all a reflection on you. Trust me. So that was the first one. Then we get, I'm tired of arguing with a bunch of grown people that can't admit their faults. There have been so many truths shown over the past 2 months. One part of this group will never admit their wrongdoings, and the other part of the group sit back and allow lies to be told, which is worse. It's a toss-up. I'm not perfect and admit to my part in the name calling attack. So everybody starts suddenly backing out. Where's everybody going? I took screenshots of some of the insults that were meant for me, considered the source, and that was it. None of it affected my life. In fact, it made me more grateful than ever. I let God design my life. That used to not be the case, but hey, you could do it too. Blah, blah, blah. I have to say all this back and forth is exhausting. Frankly, it's beyond childish. Even when I was a kid, or even a young adult, I never in my life came across all this type of nastiness. It's incomprehensible. I'm out. I'm no longer wasting my time responding to any of you. You're the kind of people I've avoided my entire life. Some of you were nice to my face, lied about me behind my back, apologized, and then you continue telling your lies. Too late now, guys. Damn. We got to cover everybody to be fair, right? We got to cover everybody to be fair. Now, why is everybody backpedaling? Where are you going? By the way, thank you very much. An anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to Easy Peasy. There you go. Thank you very much. We also had Dancing in the Sand with a subscription. I had the audio probably turned down some. Dancing in the Sand 24 minutes ago for 15 times. Getting close. 15 times Prime. Truth or Roast 13 times Prime. Margana B 5 times Prime. Glassman feeling good about 15 months. Does that beat Legend? Glassman trying to beat Legend. Like all these people are dipping the fuck out. That last one was Kennedy. I'm no longer wasting my time responding to any of you. You are nice. You are the kind of people I've avoided my entire life. Some of you are nice to the type of people you've avoided your entire. Weren't you one of Phil's followers before you found magical penis in Pennsylvania and left your fucking Mormon commune in Utah or something? Anyways, that's what it says. Glassman 8. Feeling good. About 15 months. Does that beat legend? I think it does, to be honest with you. Some of you were nice to my face, lied about me behind my back, apologized to me, and continue to tell your lies. I would be happy to never have any interactions with any of you again. We welcomed everybody in our house. We were always telling anyone who needed help that we would be there to help them. And this is how you repay us. You are mostly menopausal women making fun of and tearing down others, making fun of others, careers, family situations. I'm beyond embarrassed for you. I've been nothing but kind to all of you. And in return, I get mocked daily, called names, been lied to about the most ridiculous things. I've been called a cunt more times than I can count. I've been called Melon's favorite hole by the so-called men. Melon's favorite hole. The crack dealer's hole? I don't get that reference. Later, have fun fighting amongst yourselves because you thrive off drama. For everyone else that has been quietly watching what has been happening these last few months, ask yourself these questions. Who started the KDJ is working for Phil campaign? Who spent their days over in 2.0 making memes and pinata farm videos of people? Who spent their days calling everybody a bitch or a cunt or making fun of various body parts? When Pebbles Salon was doxxed, who started the KDJ did it campaign? Who said she had irrefutable proof of KDJ giving the info to Phil? Has already been handed over to her attorney. When Melon and I opened support, who led the charge every night coming in to disrupt and cause contention and chaos? Who then relentlessly tried to get us to admit who the real catfishers are? Now, you were the real catfisher, dumb bitch. Now, who benefits from all of this? Who benefits from our division? One person does. We are all now going back.
Cubs Van 16 a subscription. An
Thank you.
anonymous user gifted
Anonymous.
a tier 1 sub to Cubs Van 16.
We are now going back to what we should have been focused on all along, exposing Phil and our channel and on our few real friends we have made here. That was Kennedy. Some of the other people that are tapping out, it's Oliver's mom, Mama Dukes, Kristen, with some flowers beside her name. I don't know. Gretch says, piss off. Everybody's suddenly tapping out, but I thought we was gonna be equal. I thought we was gonna be fair. I would hate to lose your respect, Melon. That's the one thing in my life that I'm like, oh, respect of someone named Melon. And here I heard that you were anybody in kindergarten. But whatever. That's what's going on in all those other chats. In case anybody was interested. I'm not super interested, but I think it's, I've left a lot of people alone. And yes, the only reason I recovered Jess was because Jess made a threat that if I didn't contact her, she was going to report me to our union, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking heard, right? And then she messaged me. It's like, oh, you've made your bed now. Here you go. I'm reporting you to my union. I leave most people alone over there, but fuck it now. Just keep fucking poking. I poke back, motherfucker. I don't know what to tell you. I poke back. Here we go. We've been on a little bit of a TikTok horse kick, I think. Here's a video for you guys. This is a very good edit. This says how it started. Said no thank you. Oh, how it ended. What the fuck? She did not want that guy help. No thank you. How it started. That's right, legend. You tell him. No thank you. And how it ended. So So this right here is me minding my own goddamn business in the crowd, and someone saying, "How about we cover everybody? We don't cover anybody at all." That's this person. They're saying, "How about we cover everybody? We don't cover anybody at all." And then this is the night the show drops. Oh man. And then one more tip. I've got a tip for you guys. This could come in handy. You know, I'm all about your safety. We talked about being extremely violent in cases of, you know, someone if someone comes to attack you, obviously don't ever go to a second location. Fight to death at the first location. A lot of times it is ingrained in us to back up or back away from a situation. Oftentimes, though, it's better to assault forward through a situation. Let me give you an example. If, let's say you're driving your car and there's a car in front of you and cars behind you. Let's say you're in traffic and the car in front of you slams on the brakes and guys jump out with fucking AKs or firearms or knives right in front of you. In our head, you're going to think, throw it in reverse, back up, right? It's actually a really bad choice. You're giving them much more time on target. You're giving them tons of good shooting angles. And they're going to be running that direction, and you're going to be right there. Boom, 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 boom. They're just going to keep shooting you. Assault forward. You cut the engagement time down. You take away some of their shooting angles. You get them crossed up to where they're going to be shooting at each other. Assault forward and push through that. You want to be in the face of a violent threat. You want to be extremely violent. You want to be to the point to where they don't even anticipate that someone could be that fucking violent. You want to catch them off guard with how, I mean, I don't care. Bite, kick, grab testicles. You want to be overwhelmingly and extremely violent in that situation. Like, not just in your everyday life. Make sure that the situation is escalated to this level, right? Someone pulls a gun, someone pulls a knife, someone says they're going to fucking kill you. You don't know these people. It's not a joke or, you know, your buddy playing a joke on you. Be extremely violent as quickly as possible. There's a guy that wrote a book. I think we've looked it up on here before. I had to look at it, but he talks about these two different groups of people that ended up getting hijacked on sailboats. And this happened like 2 or 3 years apart, but they basically, it was two couples. Both times it was an older man and his wife, both times getting hijacked on sailboats. And one of them, they try to play along. They try to do they try to just follow the orders of the person who's hijacking their boat with a gun. And they end up, he still steals their boats, kills them, rapes the old lady a bunch of times. The other couple, even though they're an older lady, they almost immediately fight back. They use pots and pans and paddles and whatever. The lady's trying to fight, like all she could get a hold of because she got kicked right off the bat is like the guy's fucking legs. And she's able to, I think a knife ends up falling on the ground. She's stabbing the guy in the ankle because that's all she can reach. The old man has a fucking pot that was hanging on the wall and he's beating the shit out of this attacker. And they end up battered, bruised, and the old man has a gunshot wound in his shoulder. But they live. They live to tell the tale. The other couple is never seen again until they arrest the guy and he admits that he murdered them, threw him overboard after he fucking tortured them the whole way overseas. Across the Atlantic Ocean, he tortured them. Like, you got to be unreasonably violent immediately. The more things that you comply with, ultimately, the worse your outcome's going to be statistically. If you comply with, like, don't scream, don't say anything, don't draw any attention, come over here, get in my car, let's go here. The more things you comply with statistically, the worst outcome you're going to have. So I'm all about your safety, right? I want you to be safe. One thing I don't know a lot about is safety at the dog park. So I went to what I would call an expert, Okay. I went to what I would call an expert and decided that we would cover dog park safety right here, baby. This is for you guys.
A woman whose dog was being mauled by another dog at a Bayside beach has used an unorthodox method to save her Jack Russell. After trying in vain to break up the savage attack, she had success with just one finger. Paul Dowsley explains.
Just one finger.
It's a sound Anne Bendooley won't forget. She was walking with Jack Russell Lexi yesterday when a Staffordshire Terrier attacked.
My dog will be killed.
A Staffordshire Terrier, Staffordshire Terrier attacked her Jack Russell Terriers. So a dog much larger. I don't know what that howling sound was she made, but a much larger dog attacked her dog.
Her Jack Russell Lexi yesterday when a Staffordshire Terrier attacked.
My dog will be killed. She had it upside down and was shaking.
The Staffy had the puppy in his mouth and was just shucking it around like a rag doll.
I lifted its tail and luckily I hadn't filed my nails and I put it up its anal passage and it went, ah!
Excuse me? Excuse me? I thought a pit bull was a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Is that the same thing? They just left the bull part out? I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you. I'm not trying to correct anybody. I don't know that much about dogs. She did what now?
Upside down and was shaking.
The Staffy had the puppy in his mouth and was just shucking it around like a rag doll.
I lifted its tail and luckily I hadn't filed my nails and I put it up its anal passage and it went, ow!
I recognize that sound now. I do recognize that sound now. I've made many a lady make that sound. And to be fair, I do trim my nails first and they still make that sound.
And let my dog go. I had to do something. And that's what came to me.
The owner of the Staffordshire Terrier.
If that's the first thing that comes to you, is that okay? Is that should that be the first thing that comes to you? I'm gonna fuck this dog's ass. Are you kidding me? Hassling my dog? I'm gonna fuck this dog's ass.
And I put it up its anal passage and it went, ow! And let my...
That's not the first time she's done that either. She's done that to some willing and not... Look at this. This dog has 1,000-yard stare. He's seen some shit. He's felt some shit.
Dog go. I had to do something. And that's what came to me.
The owner of the Staffordshire Terrier believes her dog isn't to blame.
That doesn't look like a... That's got to be some type of mixed breed, right? Doesn't look like a pity.
The owner of the Staffordshire Terrier believes her dog isn't to blame.
It wasn't unprovoked, so the other dog was nibbled.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that work. Sure you have. Dancing in the sand. Need to start calling you finger dancing in the anal gland.
The other dog nibbled on her feet. Obviously, she'd retaliated. Felt terrible.
Barbara has no concern about Anne.
It's definitely got some pit bull in it.
Into her own hand.
Good on her.
Took matters into her own hand. Then the other owner says, good on her. My dog was needing a little prostate massage. Good on her. Finger dancing on the anal gland.
Nibbled on her feet. Obviously, she'd retaliated. Felt terrible.
Barbara has no concern about Anne taking matters into her own hand.
Good on her.
But yesterday, she had other problems.
What the fuck? There's more to this story. Look at her foot. What happened to her foot?
Then I felt pain. I looked at my toe. The toe is gone.
Half Barbara's toe had been bitten off as she tried to break the dog.
Why is everybody so calm here? One lady sexually assaulted this dog, and the news story's about her, but this lady lost half of her toe? It didn't hurt the dog? I don't know. After his orgasm, a forced orgasm, is that, a little prostate milking? Is that hurting a dog?
Gone.
Half Barbara's toe had been bitten off as she tried to break the dogs apart. While she spent 8 hours in hospital, Anne was at the vet washing her hands.
Yes, indeed.
Washing her hands. What the fuck is going on? Why is Shane Gillis getting such a push? I think he's funny. He does that Trump speed dating one, but man, he's been everywhere here lately.
White people used to be cool in America. Long time ago, dude.
Oh, he's got a Netflix special out? Okay.
White people being cool was us going, we're like, man. That was as cool as we got. We're like, man, see? And then the day white people stopped being cool, it was Jackie Robinson's first game. You can look it up, dude. You can find it. You can find the radio call from that game online. You can hear the exact moment white people stopped being cool. You can hear the announcers. They still got, they're like, man. Welcome to Chicago, where the White Sox take on the Brooklyn Dodgers. And we all had cool white nicknames. Like up at the mound is Old Curly. He's a 47-year-old alcoholic. He's the greatest athlete alive. Runs a 6-second 40-yard dash. Fastest man alive, they say. Then it happened, dude. And Jackie came up to the plate. You can hear the announcers like, meh. Coming up to the plate is young colored boy from Brooklyn. No way he can hit Curly's pitch. Here comes the pitch. Fuck, home run. All right. That was it, dude. Jackie hit the ball so hard he knocked that voice out of all the whites. Not one of us has talked like that since. Dude, one swing of the bat. We're like, meh. All right, yeah, that was pretty good. That was good. It's time for us to focus on computers.
It must be a big push about his special because it's being recommended fucking everywhere. Anyway, Shane Gillis. Somebody said he has a Netflix special. I got another one for you, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Oh no, that was we already did the Anthem on a Horse, right? Let me see what else we got here. I gotta get to. Oh, I was gonna tell you about my shitty luck. So. My dad had life insurance. Maybe some of you guys will have some tips on this. So my dad had life insurance, and we had actually raised his life insurance some because my mom's funeral was so expensive. Now, it didn't have a full year for it to kick in. So instead, he got his original policy plus the payments he had made is what he was owed from the life insurance company. Now, when my mom passed away, me and my dad had several talks about like, what would happen if when he passes away. And I knew his wishes and stuff. And I told him, I think at one time I even did some paperwork to be listed as the beneficiary on his life insurance because at the time it was my mother. Well, that never got turned in. So my mom is still listed as the beneficiary for my dad's life insurance policy. So last week, in the middle of the week, I think like Wednesday, maybe, because I took care of everything and signed off on everything. Last Wednesday, I think the funeral home called me and said that they had been in talks with the life insurance company for several weeks, for a couple weeks at least. And the life insurance company refuses to accept that my mom has passed away and I'm the next of kin, and I am requesting that they pay out the funeral costs. This isn't about me getting money. It's about paying a major part of the funeral costs. It still wasn't enough, but paying a major part of the funeral costs. And they have been fighting them, and they will not release the funds. So right now, I'm on the hook for like, I don't know, $8,000 worth of funeral expenses that are unpaid. The rest of it was already paid. We already paid the rest of it. This is the part of the insurance we cover. So what they want me to do is set up an estate. Now, I went and talked to the judge, the circuit court judge, and the circuit court clerk. And basically, they're like, oh, yeah, we can set up. My parents didn't own a whole lot, right? They weren't wealthy. They were both on disability. Me and my sisters helped them out to get by, whatever. They really didn't even make a. They just made enough to like get by. If they needed anything extra, we helped them out. So they don't own a whole lot, but I guess I have to put it in an estate and then let it go through probate, which means like anybody can make a claim against what they did. They don't own land. They didn't own a house. They owned basically the only thing they own of really any substantial value is a few old cars. Like my mom owned a car and my dad owned 2 older cars. Now, my mom and dad signed those cars over to me, but I never went and registered the title. So I think I can do a small estate and file that. I don't know if I'm going to need a lawyer or not yet. I have to have my parents, or I'm sorry, I have to have my sisters sign over their 1/3 of rights to manage the estate to me. And then I'll have to take that through. Well, it's not even about the safe bet. It just has to do with they won't pay out. So they have to sign over their 1/3 of rights to my parents' estate to me, so I can control the estate and put it on there. And I guess go through that. Anyways, so I'm on the hook for all the money that the funeral costs, basically. Hoping that insurance pays out once all this is completed, but now it's accruing interest. So we'll see how all that works out. It's been a rough week trying to deal with this. We also had on top of that was the local Apple Festival that's going on. So the courthouse was closed. It was limited hours, and I couldn't get an appointment. I couldn't get down there to talk to them. We still haven't got the stuff to like spread the ashes and stuff. I don't know. It's just a mess. No one wants to deal with that. If I could advise you of anything, it would be to make sure all this stuff's in place. Even if you think you got time, even if you think you're going to live for another 30 years or whatever, man, go set up a will. Have everything set up. Make sure your beneficiary is someone that you want it to be. If that ever changes, make sure you change it immediately. Don't put it off. You never know when it's your time to go. And then, yeah.
Wanton_1170 just resubscribed for 9 months. You complete.
Thank you for the resubscription.
You complete me.
Oh, you complete me. I have to. So the judge and the clerk are confused. So I have to call the insurance company tomorrow because no one knows. They said it could be either way. They don't know if I need to put my mom's estate because she's the beneficiary and they're writing the check to her for the life insurance claim. If I have to put my mom's estate through probate, or if because my dad was a policy holder and we're trying to like bypass my mom because she's passed away, if I have to put my dad's estate in probate. And I even asked the judge, like the circuit court judge, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, different companies do it different ways. You're going to have to call and talk to the company. So I tried to call today, and I was on hold for like 3 hours with the insurance company. After I asked this question, I talked to somebody, asked this question, then I was on hold for like 3 hours, getting passed around from department to department, and that's when my phone quit working. That's when my phone quit working. It just shut off, and all my text messages quit working. So we'll just have to see. I think part of the problem. I have a copy of his life insurance policy. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I had to take it to the funeral home when I went. I think part of the problem is because she died so suddenly, or not suddenly, so close together. Because someone said because it hasn't been a year. Now, that was someone at the funeral home that was like trying to help and talking in the background. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I know there was an issue with my dad raising his insurance level because he had to pay at least a year of premiums before the new payout kicked in, but they gave us his payments back. So, I don't know. It's just a mess. you end up having to pay taxes on the money. So let the three of you get the money and each sign it directly to the funeral home. As far as I know, it doesn't even come to me. It goes directly to the funeral home. That's the way we did it with my mom. It just went directly to the funeral home. I didn't have to sign a check. I didn't have to sign a stub. I didn't have to sign the paperwork that I signed at the funeral home. 3 weeks later, the check showed up and paid it off. Yeah, I didn't. And there's not going to be any money this time either. There's not any extra. Like, it all goes to the funeral home, or at least that's the way it went last time. I don't know. My lawyer took 5%. Yeah. I don't know. I got the paperwork to get it started. The circuit court clerk said he's unsure. He said he'd help me any way he could. He's unsure if I need a lawyer or not, or I guess how involved the lawyer is going to be until I get everything together, find out which one we're doing, which estate we need to put through probate, and which estate I need to be charged of, and show back up with the paperwork. Then he could make a recommendation of a lawyer and how in-depth that would be. He said there's a chance that I may be able to get by without a lawyer at all, but it's a very slim chance. I don't know. It's just aggravating. It's bad enough having to do the funeral and all that stuff, and then on top of that, having to deal with all this stupid shit. Like, seems like my dad paid insurance for 30-some years, life insurance, for him and mom. Like, no one's trying to fuck them over. We're trying to sign it directly over to the funeral home. It's not like I'm trying to go to Vegas and my sisters are like, fuck you. Like, we don't want him to have it. Like, we're all just trying to get it to the fucking funeral home. I don't know. Like, I understand, like, when it's a big policy, or like a new wife and the will was just changed and this was just updated or something. But these things have been set for like at least 10 years. Nothing's changed except for him trying to update his policy after my mom passed away for like another $1,500, which didn't work. It didn't even go through because it hadn't been long enough time of him paying premiums. He'd only been paying the premiums for like 4 or 5 months at that new rate. Like, it's not like we're trying to make any money. I'm just trying to pay for his funeral cost. But from what I can tell so far, we're dealing with the insurance company. They don't give a fuck. I think they're hoping that I'll give up and they just won't have to pay out anything. I think they're hoping that I'll just pay for the funeral. But they don't know how fucking petty I can be. But I think that's honestly what they're hoping, that I just pay for the funeral and they can fucking keep the money, I guess. Shit's stupid. Oh no. There you go. That's the bird curse for you. So that's what I've been dealing with for the last... I didn't say anything before because I still needed to go to the courthouse to figure out exactly what was going on, but I actually made it by the courthouse today. It didn't really answer anything. Gave a lot more questions, but that's what we're trying to do. Either way, my sisters have already signed the documents and had them notarized that they don't want anything. They're just letting me handle it, I guess. So we'll see what happens. Sorry, I was wiping my keyboard. That's a very likely excuse, Itsuko. You're just typing gibberish into the fucking chat, trying to get secret bot commands going off. The fuck is this? Seems like a trap to me. Our boy Tim Ballet's in some trouble. I can sympathize. Well, yeah, it's bullshit, dude. Like, if I was trying to get like $100,000 cash and fuck my family out of it or something, but I'm just trying to pay the fucking funeral home. Like, I don't have $8,000 cash to give them. Like, it's not like I'm flat broke. We have a little bit of money in savings, but nowhere near we don't even have $8,000. I couldn't pay them if I fucking wanted to. This is from our boy Tim Ballet, not to be confused with The Sound of Freedom or whatever the other guy's name is. From All Utah Law PLC, we have WWMK, DM, HDT, and DS as plaintiffs. That's their initials. For Tim Ballard, an individual, Operation Underground Railroad, a Utah nonprofit corporation, the Spear Fund, a DBA for a Utah nonprofit corporation, Rockwell Group Incorporated, a Utah corporation, Liberty and Light, a Utah corporation, Slave Stealers LLC, a Utah limited liability company, Children Need Families Foundation, a Utah nonprofit corporation, Deacon Inc., a Nevada corporation. I feel like I got something in the back of, like a fucking tickle in the back of my throat. Janet Russin, an individual, Craig Anderson, an individual, Julian Ann Blake, an individual, Wes Mortensen. Oh, that guy doesn't sound like he's part of the LDS. Mortensen? And then I found out she was a hooker. Oh, shit. Austin, did you see that TikTok I tagged you in? I wonder if I can find that. I tagged you in a TikTok the other day because it was just people doing Jew voices. And I thought maybe it would help improve your mort. I wasn't going to say anything, but it needs some work, okay? It's not Jewy enough. Let me see if I can find it. It should be on my comment history, probably. There it is. So it's I guess it's these two brothers aggravating each other, and they're just being dumb. They're just being silly, and then they both start doing Jew voices. It's very funny. I'm fixing to play it here. Hold on. Before we get into this, let me see if I can grab it for myself. Maybe.
You try to get it out of your butt.
So basically what the caption says is that this is his brother, and I think he's special needs, and he dropped the remote or something. He's digging for it. So he says, you're trying to get it out of your butt crack? While he's digging for the remote. Here we go. This is much better than Eli.
You try to get it out of your butt crack there, Trevor?
Yep.
Is it in your perineum?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now I'm gonna get it. Now I'm gonna get a skin condition.
You're gonna get an anal fissure rash.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
Then we'll have to call Rabbi Finkelstein.
Oh fuck my ass. Call me DeMarco Murray.
Oh God.
That's a very Jewy one. That's pretty good.
Try to get it out of your butt crack.
Rabbi Finkelstein.
Yep.
Is it in your perineum?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Now I'm gonna get it. Now I'm gonna get a skin condition.
You're gonna get an anal fissure rash.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ.
Then we'll have to call Rabbi Finkelstein.
Oh fuck my ass. Call me DeMarco Murray.
Oh God.
That's very good, okay? Mort could do some improvement. If this guy is able to pull off that good of an Eli impression, you better be doing some perineum. You better be doing, and then I found out she was a hooker. You need to work on it, Austin, okay? Like, I hate to put anybody down, but goddamn, I'm putting you down, okay? You need to work on this. Anyways, we were at Wes Mortensen. I have no idea why that reminded me of a Jew guy. An individual. Ben Pack, an individual. Mark Reynolds. Story time. How do I say this? For some reason, we have a local tradition that our weathermen, and maybe this is everywhere, but our weathermen here on our local news station, WJHL, are often homosexual. Okay? Now, we've had one named Mark Reynolds. There you go. I just saw that, and this is what reminded me of it. Named Mark Reynolds. And the big rumor before he left was that he was a big fan of gerbil jamming, okay? He was a gerbil jammer. He liked a little bit of tiny little paw prints on his back door. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if that's true, but I grew up basically my whole life hearing that, and that's all anybody talked about when he came on the TV. Adults, kids, everybody in my school, everybody. That's all he talked about. Now, after he leaves, we get a guy named Rob Williams. And everybody's like, thank God the gerbil jammer's gone. But almost immediately, people start picking up on some actions he has, some reactions he has, and some different things going on in his life that he is also of that persuasion. Okay, he's a fan of the summer sausage. Now, that goes on. He's not like, I wouldn't say like he's in the closet, but he doesn't bring that into work. He doesn't talk about that at work. He doesn't bring it out, but you can kind of tell. Maybe we're stereotyping him, maybe whatever. You can kind of tell that he's in the old summer sausage. He stays for about 3 years as our news guy. Next thing you know, hold on, I'll see if I can find the article. I guarantee it exists. Next thing you know, there's a little lovers. Oh God, hold on. I gotta pee right quick. Hold on. Listen to some music. I'll be right back. This is a good story. I promise. Prostate's swollen up like a rugby football. Rugby ball. All right, here we go. This story was worth the wait, I promise. Anyways, so then our boy Rob Williams is suddenly not appearing. He's not a gerbil guy. Just a lot of people believe that he might be a homosexual guy. He suddenly stops appearing on the news, and no one wants to talk about it. They just got a new weatherman, and nobody's going to mention it. No one's going to say anything about it. Later that month, a story breaks that says Johnson City, Tennessee. Police say a TV weatherman in Tennessee was wounded by a bolt from a crossbow during a break-in at his home by a man he once lived with. The suspect has now been charged with first-degree murder. And we're like, what? Who the fuck breaks into our weatherman's house with a crossbow? Not a whole lot of thieves out there sneaking down the alley with a fucking crossbow at the just pulled back and locked. You got one shot. A horrible weapon. The rest of the story reads, according to CBS affiliate WJHL, police say 53-year-old Gerald D. Taylor was arrested in the Monday morning attack on Rob Williams, a weatherman at WJHL. Williams told police he ran from his Johnson City home after the 4 a.m. attack and said Taylor also fired a pistol at him, but he missed. Police said they found Taylor at a boat dock near Williams' house with a pistol in his hand and arrested him. Williams says he and Taylor had been living together until recently an order of protection had been served. Taylor was charged with an attempted first-degree murder, aggravated burglary, and violation of an order of protection, WJHL reports. So, this quickly turns into the talk of the town, okay? He goes and testifies. Meteorologist testifies after being shot with crossbow. A local weatherman spoke out for the first time in court on Tuesday. WHL meteorologist Rob Williams took the stand to give his account of the events that led up to the attack. As Williams took the stand, we learned that a few pieces of evidence were found that could possibly be linked to Gerald Taylor, who is accused of shooting Williams. I woke up and Mr. Taylor was standing in my room with a crossbow and a 9mm gun, said Rob Williams. A crossbow that Williams says Gerald Taylor bought off eBay. I was facing him between 2 and 4 feet. He just pulled the trigger and hit me, Williams said on the stand. Williams was then was able to retreat to the bathroom, but was unable to unlock his phone to dial 911. That's when he heard a gunshot, which he later learned was pointed at the ground. Once I got out of my bathroom and then we sat wrestling for a gun, and then we start wrestling for a gun, I'm still trying to dial 911 at the same time and not having any luck, said Williams. Williams testified his hand was covered in his own blood is the reason he can't unlock his phone. Williams testified in court today that after struggling for his gun, he was then able to exit the house for the gun. He was then able to exit the house where he then ran through several neighbors' yards before he was able to call 911 for help. When EMS and police arrived on the scene, the arrow was still stuck inside Williams' chest. Taylor had been Williams' roommate for many years. They owned the home together. Stop saying roommates, okay? You can't say, oh, they had been roommates for many years. They owned the home together. You said that you were roommates, but actually you were more than that. Is that correct? Asked defense attorney Philip Ratliff. Yes, said Williams. You were in a relationship, asked Ratliff. Yes, responded Williams. How long had you been in a relationship, asked Ratliff. Williams responded, since approximately 1991. This happened in 2012. They'd been in a relationship since 1991. Williams also said that several letters were found on the corner of Taylor's bed describing funeral arrangements for Taylor, but that wasn't all. There was also Google searches on the shared computer like, can an 80-pound crossbow kill someone? And can a pillow be used as a silencer for a 9mm gun? After hearing the evidence, the judge decided to proceed with the case. The state has clearly made out a case for an attempt of first-degree murder. In this case, Mr. Taylor will be bound over in all charges, said Sessions Judge James Nidifer. Taylor will be appearing in court Wednesday for his order of protection and again on July 20th at 9 a.m. for criminal court. So clearly this becomes the talk of the town. Okay? Clearly. Our weatherman that everybody suspected was gay now has a gay lover who he owns a home with, who is hunting him down with a crossbow. Hunting him down with a crossbow. Right? Pretty crazy. And then he's convicted. Here's the conviction part. A Johnson City man convicted of shooting a local TV weatherman with a crossbow last year in their home killed himself Wednesday at a city park, according to a police report. Gerald Taylor, 54, 121 Lynn Road, was found inside a vehicle unconscious in Wingdeer Park around 11:10. Now, Wingdeer Park has its own connotation. Wingdeer Park was a site of an area in the brush near the park, a park where families and kids and shit go, that was known locally as the man cave, where men from Johnson City would meet up anonymously and have weird gay orgies in the woods so they didn't have to tell their wife about it. He's found in a vehicle unconscious in Wingdeer Park around 11:10 a.m. According to the report, Taylor pled guilty February 8th to shooting his former boyfriend, Rob Batot, which is actually Rob Williams, known professionally out in WJHL as Weatherman Rob Williams. It's B-A-T-O-T, at Williams' home where Taylor was also once lived on June 4th. So he ends up killing himself at Wingdeer Park, the home of the man cave. Home of the man cave. Which is pretty wild, right? He ended up pleading in the case. I'm not sure. He was out, so obviously it was a first-degree murder. Let's see what they actually say here, because I haven't. I don't know why he was out so quickly. If it was first-degree murder, let me see if I could get it to load. Probably not. Sorry, I'm trying to use Bardeen, but it's been acting weird lately. Oh, no, it's not there. I should just type in plead, right? So this all happened the plea was in 2013. He kills himself unalives himself in, what day was this? 2020, so 7 years later, but I don't know how much jail time he did. '13 is when he takes the plea. Sorry, I'm just looking at dates and scrolling. There's not a whole lot on it. Anyways, he takes a plea deal, and then in 2020 he kills himself. So now this quickly becomes the cock of the town around 2013, 2014, 2015 before he kills himself. So then me and Dad are sitting watching the news one day, and literally we had just been talking about this. Dad's like, what's up with all the weathermen? And I'm like, I don't know. You remember Mark Reynolds and all the rumors about him? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, and then this guy, he gets hunted down with a crossbow and some type of weird lovers quarrel. And he's like, yeah, I know. What's going on with the weatherman? And I'm like, I don't know. So it just happens that it's Valentine's Day, and they're doing a special on the news about like couples engaged and finding love or blah, blah, blah. So when they go to cut back to the host, like the news anchors, it's the regular two news anchors, this guy named Josh Smith and this blonde-headed lady. They're sitting there, and then Rob Williams is sitting over to the side, right? And when he comes back to him, Josh Smith looks over the ladies and says, well, it's always good when somebody finds true love. And the lady goes, yeah, it is always good. I'm happy for those people. And maybe that'll be me one day. And then they're like, what about you, Mark? They're just small talking, but no one thinks about this. They're just doing small talk. And they're like, what about you, Rob? Rob Williams? I said Mark, but what about you, Rob? And he dead, stone-faced as fucking can be. Poker face. No smile, no glint in his eye, no nothing. Just stone-faced is like, well, I tried love once. And I think we all know how that ended up. Then they just roll the fucking credits. Just roll credits. I tried to find love once, and we all know how that ended up. So then I never see Rob Williams again. He gets moved to like the morning show after that. It was very weird. Very weird. It's almost like they set him up for that one, right? Very strange. There was something else in the chat that reminded me of a story while we were doing this. What was it that I saw in the chat? Our local Mark Reynolds is the head of the local DEA. Damn, that's a weird Mark Reynolds. Don't be stealing my Mark Reynolds. There was something in the chat that I want to respond to, and I can't remember what it was. Male painters frequently? Wait, what about... Oh, you guys don't know that story? That's not the same guy. That guy is a political guy. He was actually our sheriff at one time. Yeah, our former sheriff, and now he works as like some type of liaison for the state senate. I forgot what I was going to say. There was something else I was going to say about this, and it reminded me of it from chat. Foreplay gone wrong. What was it? Cupid. He was Cupid with that arrow. That might have been it. Could have been it. You never know. Anyways, I lost the other story time I was going to do. But yeah, he's the guy that... So they changed their story at first. Oh, I didn't even tell you the best part. So you guys can't share none of this, okay? This is just between me and you. So the guy who used to be our sheriff, who's now like some type of state representative liaison, is renting out our local cabin to have some type of homosexual affair that his wife doesn't know about, and he pays cash only and always has these guys coming in to work on his house, right? They changed the story in the middle of their last stay, and it went from working on his house, they're not craftsmen, I'll tell you that much, to they were together to take pictures of his house. And I was like, both of you? And they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he takes the pictures and I'm the assistant, right? So they changed that in the middle of the story. Then they check out. When they check out, couple things. They come to the office and they're like, so this cabin has a combination lock on it. And when you check in, they give you the combination, and they usually change it like every year. Like, it's not very often they change it, but no one's going to go all the way through the campground up this little narrow ass road, walk all the way up there, like past at the office and everybody else to come in there and like break in on you or anything. And while you're in there, there's a lock on the inside that you use. It's only while you're not there, right? It's a combination lock, which is no different than like the maid having a room key, right? To clean your room, which we don't clean it while they're there. We clean it when they leave. But if you were worried about it, it's no different than like the maid and the hotel office having like a room key, right? They can get in there at any time in case of emergency or whatever. But we don't. We don't do room service. We don't clean it. We don't do none of that. So they come to the office with their padlock and they're like, hey, just wanted to let you know we're checking out. You guys gave us the wrong code for our door. And we're like, what? The lady in the office like, what? And they're like, yeah, let's say you told us it was 8818 and it's actually 8881, which is not true. Not true at all. I know this because Mariah has to go up there all the time, and she like the cleaning after somebody checks out or change stuff out, or I've worked in there before like fixing stuff, and the combination's always been the same. We all know the combination. Everybody that works there knows the combination to it, and it didn't just fucking change on its own. To change it, you have to put in the correct combination, turn the shackle on the lock backwards, hold it down and put in a new combination, then let it up and lock it and unlock it. Right? It's a process. It doesn't just accidentally change. And it was like 2 of the numbers were flipped. Not like it was off by 1 digit, you know, because the locks like wore out. So that automatically raised a red flag. Like, why would they change our locks? Why would they change our lock combination? Well, one of 2 things. Either they didn't feel safe with their stuff in there while with our staff, and they didn't want us in there, or they were hiding something, didn't want us in there for whatever reason. Either they didn't feel safe or they were hiding something. Basically, that's the 2 things. They didn't feel safe. They thought we were going to rob them, or they were trying to hide something from us. So then when the lady that cleans the cabins goes to clean the cabin, guess what she finds? Guess what she finds on the floor between the mattress and the wall? A tutor. So now the plot thickens. It's some type of drug snorting, enhanced homosexual love triangle from 2 photographers from southern Georgia that his wife doesn't know about. I think the reason they didn't change it back is because it's kind of finicky. Plus, if for some reason we would have tried to get in the cabin with the old combo, they had a good excuse saying, why did the combination didn't work? Well, that wasn't a combination. You gave us the wrong one. It's getting very weird, but now they're banned. Now they're banned from a tutor, Tooter, tutor. Just Google it. Type in tutor pill use. Tutor insufflation. Tutor snort this up. Tutor. Anyways, now they're banned because drug paraphernalia. But he used to be the sheriff. Isn't that a wild story? What were we doing before I started telling the stories? Oh, yeah, we was reading this, right? Plaintiffs WWDS, HDT, MK, and DM by and through their counsel hereby complain against defendants and allege the follows. Plaintiff WW is an adult citizen, blah, 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 state of Utah. All of them are adult citizens, state of Utah, residents of Utah. Tim Ballard, adult citizen, state of Utah. All these different companies, they're basically making a jurisdiction claim here. Venue is properly laid before the 3rd Judicial District Court in and for Salt Lake City, state of Utah, pursuant to blah, blah, blah. So that's their jurisdiction complaint. Factual allegations. Ready? Are we ready to see what Tim Ballet did? One of the saddest lessons of history is this. If we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. They include a quote. We are no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It's simply too painful to acknowledge even to ourselves that we've been taken. Once you give a charlatan power over you, you almost never get it back. That's a Carl Sagan quote, right? They throw a quote in there for good measure. Why not? Sorry, my leg's bothering me. Hold on, it's itching. Timothy Ballard. Timothy Ballard is an American activist, speaker, and author. Ballard claims to have worked for the CIA as a special agent in the United States Department of Homeland Security. As a special the CIA and as a special agent in the United States Department of Homeland Security. Okay. Ballard founded the nonprofit organization Operation Underground Road in 2013 that claims to lead the fight against human trafficking and sexual exploitation around the world. Ballard found the nonprofit Spear Corporation as a landing spot for him after being fired. After being what, chat? Where you at, Cat? Where you at, Cat? Put Pebbles lawyer Jeff on hold. You're going to want to hear this part, Cat. After being fired by OUR, the company he started. The other corporate defendants were created by Ballard in order to funnel the donations coming into OUR into corporate profits and shareholder distributions. One more time. The other corporate defendants in this lawsuit, so everything besides OUR and the Spear Corporation or Foundation, whatever, all those other LLCs, slave stealers, families for foreigners, or whatever the fuck it was, fucktarded families for 50 foreigners or whatever. Those were all to funnel donations coming into OUR into corporate profits and shareholder distributions. At all relevant points in time, Ballard was a CEO and or manager member of the above consortium of companies. And Ballard was the alter ego and face of these companies. Truth. At all relevant points in time, defendants Anderson, Blake, Mortensen, Reynolds, and Fairbanks are and were members of OUR's board, collectively the board, and owed fiduciary duties to plaintiffs and donors. Defendant Julian Ann Blank, fiduciary is like involving trust or like a responsibility, especially between like it's used a lot of times in like banking when it's like between like a trustee of an estate or something and like a beneficiary of that estate, right? But still, it's something to do with trust and responsibility to those people or to the people below them or whoever. Defendant Julie Ann Blake is a member of OUR's board and is adult. State of Utah, Mark Reynolds. These are all board members. OUR raised money in order to have conducted multiple sting operations to purportedly rescue trafficked women and children, ops being conducted outside the United States. Many of these ops included wealthy men with no military training who wanted an experience vacation where they dropped into third world countries to rescue trafficked children with photo opportunities and stories in a local newspaper of their heroics, all while flying first class. Ooh. While promotional and media materials made the ops appear to be paramilitary drop-ins to arrest traffickers and rescue children, what most ops consisted of was going to strip clubs and massage parlors across the world after flying first class to get there and staying at 5-star hotels, on boats, and at VRBOs across the globe. Sorry, my eggs listing like crazy. Maybe my socks fucking bother me. I'm moving it. Anyways, these ops were a fundraising machine. These ops, vacation rental. What does VRBO stand for? Vacation rental something. So it's a website. Verbo. I don't know if you say it phonetically or if you say VRBO. I don't know. But it's like an app for like, it's an app like, what are some of the other apps where you rent a house by owner? For occasional renters by owner. What's the other one's called? Airbnb. It's like an Airbnb. These ops were fundraising machines, though they were more show than substance. And the entire OUR enterprises were funded by donors for these ops, many whom held bake sales and literally donated their widow's mite to OUR and Tim Ballard. Their widow's mite. I'm not familiar with that phrase. We're about to Google it. The Gospel of Mark specifies that 2 mites are together worth a quadron, the smallest Roman coin. The widow's mite. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites and make a farthing. The mite, also known as a lepton, was a Jewish coin. And the smallest, so it goes back to a widow giving away her last bit, right? This widow woman giving away her last bit of money. I did know that story. I just couldn't remember it. I didn't put it together, I guess. Ballard became the de facto and most recognized face of anti-child trafficking, which everyone agrees is a most noblest of causes. Ballard became a character of mythical proportions with unquestioned legitimacy. Ballard was appointed as a special advisor to Ivanka Trump in October of 2017. Picture. Ballard was invited by President Trump to join a White House anti-trafficking advisory board. Picture. Ballard was appointed to the White House Public-Private Partnership Advisory Council to end human trafficking in 2019. One of Ballard's closest friends in Utah is Attorney General Sean Reyes. Remember when I kept bringing up the Attorney General? And what part did he play in like investigations disappearing and being dropped? He's the fucking Attorney General. He actually, most people thought that he might run for the Mitt Romney Senate position, and as soon as Ballard had interest in it, suddenly he's not interested in it at all. Weird. And Reyes was promoting Ballard until just recently to be the next United States Senator from the state of Utah. According to General Reyes' webpage, Reyes is top law enforcement official in Utah charged with protecting consumers from those who abuse the law. Again, proving credibility to Ballard and OUR that was not warranted. Providing credibility that was not warranted. General Reyes has repeatedly vouched for OUR and Tim Ballard, even participating in an alleged op in Colombia, which was well publicized in Utah, giving Ballard the cover of top law enforcement officer in the state of Utah to carry out his purposes, including the couple's ruse. Even while consumer complaints and criminal investigations were pouring into his office regarding improprieties of OUR and Ballard. Ballard has been, until recently, business associates with and close friends with Apostle and acting president of the Quorum of 12 Apostles, M. Russell Ballard, President Ballard, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormon. President Ballard has cited ballet to students at Brigham Young University, Idaho, as an expert of Book of Mormon, Prophet Nephi, and the Mormon view of American history. Tim Ballard has met with President Ballard in the church administration building in Salt Lake City to discuss OUR's work. Ballet has spoken to many Mormon groups across the country, including athletic teams at Brigham Young University. Ballet has authored at least 3 purported historical books promoting Mormon nationalism that have been published and sold by the Mormon Church-owned Deseret book, which were big sellers in Mormon community and further created the myth of Tim Ballet. Ballet, in enmeshment with the Mormon Church, further provided him credibility and status in Utah, where the Mormon Church is the largest founding denomination of the state. Tim Ballet became friends with Glenn Beck, an American conservative political commentator, radio host, entrepreneur, and television producer. Glenn Beck donated significant amounts of money to begin OUR. Tim Ballet and Glenn Beck formed a defendant company, Nazarene, to fight Christian causes across the globe, and Beck gave Ballard almost unlimited access to the Glenn Beck Media Network, which further contributed to Ballet's credibility. Tim Ballet became friends with Tony Robbins, an American author, coach, and speaker who raised staggering amounts of money for Ballet. Documentaries were made of Tim Ballet and OUR, and in 2023, a feature film was produced by Mormon-based Angel Studios called Sound of Freedom was released. The film claimed to portray the work Tim Ballet has done, and the movie has been hugely successful across the globe, adding to the myth of Tim Ballet. One Utah artist painted pictures of Ballet and his wife, again enhancing the credibility of Ballet to an almost Mother Teresa altitude. There it is. This is the Underground Railroad picture. It's him and his wife, and he's carrying a kid, and everybody's holding all these things. This is wild. OUR reported to the IRS $6.9 million in revenue in 2016, $22.3 million in 2019, $45 million in 2020, $52.9 million in 2021, and $56.7 million in 2022. Damn. In the IRS 90 form, it is reported that Tim Ballet received a salary of $525,000 in 2022. Yet former employees claim that Ballet earned over $14 million through his for-profit company, some of which was funneled from the nonprofit entity. This is illegal. There are certain ways to take a nonprofit money and get them to let's say you have a nonprofit that raises money. Let's say you have a nonprofit that raises money to get service animals to veterans, right? And your second cousin just happens to have a company that trains service animals, breeds them, raises them, whatever. And your nonprofit puts money over there, and sometimes you work for your second cousin, right? There are ways to do that, but you got to be very careful. It's got to look like there's no impropriety there, like you're not picking them on purpose just because the money's coming back to you, blah, blah, blah. But it seems like Tim Ballard was just setting it up to literally funnel directly back to him. OUR was making staggering profits as Ballet opened for-profit companies, defendants, which were alter egos of OUR and Ballard, and that allowed Ballet to line his pockets with the widow's mite. In order to find and save trafficked children, Ballet would receive psychic information from psychic defendant Janet Russin about where the op should occur, along with reassurance and justification of everything Ballet did, while predicting the future situations the operatives would be in, so that they could plan the next op. Miss Russin claims that she spoke to a dead prophet named Nephi, who directed her about where to locate trafficked children. Ballet used OUR and its ops to fund his personal fantasies of grandeur. Ballet began a program for women accompanying him on ops and called the program the Couple's Ruse. Ballet claims that the Couple's Ruse is an undercover tool to prevent detection by pedophiles when Ballet would not engage in sexual touching of the trafficked women offered up to him in strip clubs and massage parlors across the world. Ballet would choose a woman who worked at OUR or with OUR and invite a well-intentioned volunteer to be trained in the Couple's Ruse. The women he chose had no formal training in paramilitary activities or operations, but he knew they were devoted to the OUR mission of saving women and children from trafficking. If this stuff is true, it's even worse, because not only did he use influence to try to get these women in situations where they probably shouldn't have been in all this impropriety and weird sexual stuff, right? But he used children on top of it. There were actual statements, apparently, from some of the women saying, how far are you willing to go to do God's work, to save children? That's fucked up. These women he had chosen no form of training in paramilitary activities or operations, but he knew they were devoted to OUR's mission of saving women and children from traffickers. Ballet claims that he implemented strict rules regarding the Couple's Ruse: no kissing on the lips, no touching or exposing private parts. Ballet soon began abusing the Couple's Ruse and eventually used the ruse as a tool for sexual grooming. As part of either an op, now this is just their claim, by the way, this hasn't been proven in court, but I feel like it sounds like it happened, but we'll see as it goes closer and closer to court. He'll probably settle out of court if these women agree to it. He's got tons of money, and he doesn't want this getting out. It can only get worse if it goes to court. As a part of either an op or practice for the op, Ballet would often share a bed with a woman posing as his girlfriend or invite her to shower in his bathroom, even though accommodations at designated safe house provided separate bedrooms and bathrooms. Again, he went on Adam Carolla's show, and specifically Adam Carolla said, well, you probably have to share a room if they're watching it. Nope. Separate rooms. Nope. No one's ever in my bed. Nope. The only time this shower story ever happened was at a massage parlor, and we did the massage in our swimming trunks. Nope. We stood in the corner and never touched nothing. Nobody. I didn't even use a soap. I just let cold water run on my back. That's all I did. Doesn't seem to be the claim, buddy. Doesn't seem to be the claim. It's also very interesting that before this document come out, before he had a copy of it, when all we had was a lawyer's statement and nothing had been filed yet, that he already knew on Adam Carolla's show exactly what they'd claim. Sleeping in the beds together, taking a shower together. Weird. He tried to get out ahead of it. Before they ever went undercover together, Ballet insisted that he first needed to ensure that he and his female counterparts in the couple's rooms had a physical chemistry that would be obvious to those they would meet during an operation. Ballet encouraged female operatives to participate in tantric massages before and while on couples' ruse. So even before they left the country. So before and while on the missions. Tantric massages. Ballet claimed to be so concerned about the believability of the couple's ruse that he frequently asked women to practice their couple's ruse long before a mission ever took place. To that end, Ballet flew women across the country where they would practice their sexual chemistry through tantric yoga, couples massages with escorts, and lap dancing on Ballet's lap. I'm practicing soaking right now. I don't think you guys even know it. Can you tell? I've soaked many a woman down. They used to call me the super soaker. And I'm just like on the commercial, 4 or 5 pumps, I'm ready to blast. Ballet also frequented strip clubs in the Salt Lake Valley with these women to practice the couple's ruse. So he was making his church women go to a strip club in Salt Lake Valley to practice what it'd be like at a strip club in Mexico or Colombia. Ballet included his son, who had just returned from serving a mission for the Mormon church, to the strip clubs without Ballet's wife's knowledge. What? I thought your wife was on Adam Carolla saying, I know everything he does. I don't like to see the pictures. To me, he looks like a freak. I don't even like it. He thinks it's funny and sends me the pictures. Yes, the income did skyrocket around Q. As the strip clubs, Ballet would pay for and receive lap dances and ingest alcohol and pills at these practice ruses on OUR's dime with donor monies. This sounds like the best gig in the world. How do I set one of these motherfuckers? You guys want to help me rescue some fucking strippers? Huh? Going to college, daddy's issues, or drug addicts. There's 3 types. I can rescue all of them. This sounds awesome. He got drunk, busted down pills, and hung out at the strip club to get lap dances to practice. Let's go for it. You can't go, Mariah. I got to have a couple's ruse. There's no way people would believe we're a couple. Ballet engaged in a ploy where he would tell the women that if they were offered alcohol, which is forbidden by the Mormon church, that she should take the drink and then open mouth kiss him and spilt the alcohol into his mouth. Then he would spit it out when the traffickers were not No fucking way. Oh, if they offer you a drink, just take it. and then start making out with me and spit it in my mouth. I'm going to hate that. That's going to be horrible for me, trust me. But I can handle it when you lady folk can't, okay? Spit it out when the traffickers were not looking. However, Ballard was doing the exact opposite. He was consuming excessive amounts of alcohol, tequila, of his own volition, which he drank at strip clubs. The few times that I've seen him, it seems like he's got a buzz. Like when he goes on these like really important shows, doesn't it seem like he's got an air of I just took a couple shots just to get on stage? I don't know. Of his own volition, which he drank at strip clubs, massage parlors, and on trips to the point of passing out. For example, he missed a $250,000 speaking engagement a few weeks ago because he was drunk and missed the flight. Told you. He seems like he's always fucking drinking to me. I don't know. But you can't even accuse him of him because he's all he's going to say is the Mormon church forbids that. Of course not. Come on, Big Daddy. Let's see some reenactments.
Merbird gifted toke_n_joke3
That's
as
right.
subscription. Merbird gifted a tier 1 sub to toke_n_joke3.
Go
They
reenact.
have given 12 gift subs in the channel.
Go reenact all my fucking sexcapades from high school. Dicking them bitches down. Because he was drunk and missed his flight. Through these couples' ruses, both in the office and in the field, Ballard eventually engaged in coerced sexual contact with several women and propositioned others. God, this is fucked up. Ballard participated in several sexual acts with the exception of actual penetration in various states of undress while on ops missions. Ballard developed a sexual position where it appeared he was having full-on sexual intercourse with his couple's ruse victims while not actually penetrating them. He was giving it the old slip and slide. So, here's how you do it, okay? Put them in the missionary. Have them pull their legs back a little bit more than they usually would be for insertion. Once it's in, you can do all kinds of shit, like put their legs behind their head or whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. When you're actually lining it up, the legs need to be in a certain position. Have them drop their legs a little bit further back, right, than normal. Spit on it, and when you put that first thrust, it goes down the brown slip and slide. Not in their butthole. It just rides their crack. I've had to do this for, several missions I've been on. It just rides the crack. And you can't tell. What are you over there inspecting? You got a camera up in that snooze? The fuck out of here. It just rides the crack. Make your own lube. You see what I'm saying? Work up some truffle butter. While inside private accommodations, when no one else was around that they needed to fool, Ballard would claim that he and his female partner had to maintain the appearance of a romantic relationship at all times in case suspicious traffickers might be surveilling them at every moment. The exact thing that I said, that Adam Carolla said that he denied. No, we get Airbnbs and we got logistics guys that set that up. They're not in our Airbnb. Come on, guys. Come on. Ballard requested the women he invited to act as his significant other to first have a Brazilian wax. Why? If they can just prove this, just prove this, that he said to pretend to be my trafficking wife, you got to wax your pussy first. My old lady got a hairy pussy. I'm not putting up with it on vacation too, okay? If I'm taking a vacation, so is my penis, and I want that bald pussy. I like no hair on it. I'm the same way, Tim Ballard. I like it bald. Like it was cast out of ceramic. Understand me? Cold to the touch. Gotta warm it up in the microwave first. I don't know where that was going. Anyways. Ballard requested that the women he invited to act as a significant other to first have a Brazilian wax. Ballard would ask each woman, is there anything you wouldn't do to save a child? Is there anything you wouldn't? Is there anything you wouldn't put in your mouth to save a child? If we could save one child, but you had to swallow several 100,000 potential children, could you do it? To further convince the women of his need for them on the next ops mission, Ballard would badmouth previous female partners, claiming that the women who had allegedly gone on the couple's ruse in the past were crazy and claiming that they had fallen in love with him along the way. Ballard used these mythical stories to motivate the women in his couple's ruse to prove their mettle and their devotion to the cause by trying to outdo their supposed predecessors. Of course. He's fighting them against each other. Those other bitches didn't love kids. They didn't even like the taste of my baby batter. You believe that? That's God's seed. If you don't like the taste of whipping up little baby batter, I don't even know if Nephi recognizes you. When these women found themselves questioning the legitimacy of tactics involving sexual contact, they often doubted their own instincts, relying on Ballard's breadth of knowledge about rescue missions to convince themselves that such tactics were normal. Other employees of OUR would warn these women not to question Ballard or their lives would be put in danger. Ballard would also tell women that engaging in sex play with him would improve their marriage, even as he told them not to tell their husbands about what they were doing, or it would compromise the mission, the children, their lives, and other informants' lives. Hey, this sexual role-playing will actually spice up your marriage, you know? Sometimes I like to hide under the bed and you pretend like you're a scared child, and we'll have a third person come in and pretend to be your father, and he'll check under the bed and pretend he doesn't see me, but he'll bring you a glass of water, and then just when you think you're safe, I pounce and give you the downtown slip and slide. And that'll improve your marriage, but don't tell him. Don't tell your husband. I don't look like much of a fighter. I'm usually drunk. I don't want to get my ass beat. Ballard would repeatedly warn these women that if they failed in their couple's ruse mission, they would have wasted the hard-earned money that honest donors had entrusted to OUR to be caught or killed by the cartel. What a fucking power trip, dude. Like, he's out here snorting pills and drinking alcohol while trying to get some fucking strange and saying God approves it. But if you don't go through with it, hell, the cartel might kill us. You want to put the donors' money in your hands, all because you wouldn't do a little of just the tip. Just the tip. It's not even really penetration. I just thought of the funniest TikTok that I'm fixing to look up. Hold on. While we're talking about this, I don't know why it reminded me of it, but listen. My OCD, ACD, LSD, it comes in handy sometimes. I don't give a fuck who you are. Sometimes it comes in handy. Sometimes it basically makes the show. I'm willing to say it. I'm going after every motherfucker so I don't lose Melon's respect. Got to go after them all. Got to catch them all. I'm pretty sure that it was a text message. Here we go. Oh, I didn't even realize that was, I guess that was Bullshifter in here earlier. That subscribed. I wasn't even paying attention to the name, but he texted me. The one that said, you complete me or whatever. I didn't even realize that was him. All right, here we go. Just a little break here.
Yesterday, I think the government accidentally texted me in a group chat. They were like texting me about like routes and reconnaissance and like.
So it says, "Good afternoon, Convoy Team Rusty." This is some type of training exercise. Good afternoon, Convoy Team Rusty. I took some time today to recon our route for our Wednesday exercise. The roads are not named or numbered and can be slightly confusing if traversing under duress. Please find the following pictures of the route for your orientation of what to expect. No, I was not allowed to enter Al-Hadiz. 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 Al-Hadiz, maybe. Al-Hadiz. Village today. However, I did get very close. So this is whoever their commander is. It's supposed to be doing the recon at some place, right? There are a variety of dirt berms and stands located throughout the route for OB4 to hide. Incoming route picture spam with rally points and points of interest noted. All right, so here we go.
Accidentally texting me in a group chat. They were like texting me about like routes and reconnaissance and like plans on how to rescue somebody and stuff just way above my pay grade.
Then the leader sends like all the pictures of where they're supposed to, you know, rescue the guy, you know. So then I kind of have these questions about like who, what.
What's the deal with Al-Hadiz?
Leader.
So he says, "What's the deal with Al-Hadiz?" And the leader says, "It's where our scenario asset is, down pilot rescue, the helo in particular in some of the first pictures." So what's the deal with Al-Hadiz?
Hits me back with like a very normal response to what I just said. And then I hit him with the coup de grace. I thought I was supposed to put Al-Hadiz nuts in your mouth. So they kind of brushed over that atom bomb.
Oh, very good. Very good. This is fucked up. He wasn't even supposed to be receiving these text messages. Oh, I thought I was supposed to put these nuts in your mouth. I got Mariah the other day on handle these. I was like, I was just out of your car, and how did you break the handle of these? The handle these. And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Handle these." She's like, "Handle these." I said, "Handle these nuts, bitch." Then I ran away and hopped in the shower.
Of a balls in your mouth joke until somebody notices that my number's not correct. My heart is like at 100 miles an hour. I don't want them to kick me out, so I'm like, I'm still down for whatever you guys are up to though. So I won over the hearts of a couple guys in the chat. They voted me as their leader, and now I gotta rescue a down pilot tomorrow in Al-Hadiz, whoever that is.
Sorry, Derek, we vote 442 to be in charge now. That's fair. I cede my position. I'm the captain now. Very funny. Very funny. Good job. Anyways, back to Al-Hadiz nuts of Tim Ballard. Ballard also tell these women that Janet Rustin and or Catherine had chosen them to be part of the couple's ruse. So again, telling them that the psychic had told them to do this. And there's a note for 2, which was like it would compromise the mission, children, their lives, or other informants' lives if they told their husbands. And it says, in the mind of these victims, this was very real and serious, and the cartel was essentially all-knowing and all-seeing. So he had basically convinced these women that the cartel had people everywhere, maybe even in the Airbnb or in his team or what. That's why they had to stay in the same room. That's why they had to shower with him. That's why they had to do pretend sex, which was just a little dry humping. If you haven't ever, hemmed up your fellow churchgoer in the corner and done a little dry humping for Jesus, have you ever really lived? Ever? Mariah is never bored with you around. I wish that was true. It seems like that's all she is bored. I gotta liven it up some. Start coming in fucking half lit up on that high-speed chicken feed. Ballard would use spiritual manipulation to coerce them into sexual contact. Almost all of the women involved are or were Mormon. Ballard began to claim that President M. Russell Ballard, this right here is why M. Russell Ballard came out and said he never had permission to use my name. Right here. This is why. Ballard began to claim that President M. Russell Ballard had given Ballard permission to do the couple's ruse as long as there was no sexual intercourse or kissing on the lips, and had given him a special priesthood blessing as such. There you go. When we were looking for why the church made a statement, when typically they don't have to make a statement, they don't have to speak about a statement, they don't have to do anything. They typically won't even give a statement. There it is. Yeah, right. We're going to go on some Nephi guided ops to spice it up. Nephi fucking predict my future. Tell me who my next wife going to be. Oh. That's why M. Russell Ballard came forward. Our management adopted and accepted the couple's ruse as a standard policy, OUR management, as a standard policy and procedure of the company, and allowed Ballard unrestrained allowance on how he enacted the couple's ruse. Ballard would also claim that a passage from the Book of Mormon in which a man kills another man on the promptings of the Holy Spirit demonstrates that sometimes the Holy Spirit asks people to perform unconventional tasks. And unconventional is in quotes there. Ballard would also claim to the women that defendant Janet Russin told him that he had been married to them in previous lives, and so their conduct was appropriate. Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to start using, if I ever get busted cheating, that's going to be it. I was married to her in a previous life. Jesus forgives me. What a fucking piece of shit. Who could do this? Especially, like, his wife seems like she's super dedicated. Like, she's the most dedicated wife on earth. Like, she is the Mormon equivalent to just all supported. Like, everything he asked for. She sits at home, raises like 14 fucking kids. And he's out here playing secret agent, getting some strange Mormon pussy with a fresh Brazilian wax. How do you get Tim Ballet's life? Damn. Additionally, Ballet would get ketamine treatments and have a scribe come in with him while he worked to talk to the dead prophet Nephi. I'm pretty sure I've talked to the dead prophet Nephi a few times. Damn. If that's all it takes, I've been high enough to talk to Nephi. I thought that was my conscience before it stopped speaking years ago when I died inside. To the dead prophet Nephi and issue forth prophecies about Ballard's great. I told you we were going to find out. Ballard thinks he's the second coming of Joseph Smith or Jesus or something. So now he's talking about these past lives. Now he's talking about how he gets on ketamine. He talks to the prophet. Get the fuck out of here. And he would give him prophecies about Ballard's greatness and future as a United States senator and president of the United States, and ultimately the Mormon prophet to usher in the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's exactly what I fucking told you, and that's exactly what he's fucking doing. He thinks he is the second coming, or usher in the second coming of Jesus by being the last prophet, the last Mormon prophet. Ballard would also claim to his female ruse partners that if his wife, Catherine, were to die, he would immediately marry them. I've never made that promise to anybody. Probably because I'll die first. Ballard told one of his victims that when his wife would question what Ballard was doing with these women, Ballard would tell his wife that his female partners kept falling in love with him and wanted to kill Catherine so they could be together. Is this the Lori Daybell shit now? Well, they're the zombies over there. Ballard would insist that women stay silent about their alleged sexual encounters with him because if they told anyone, it would put everyone's life at risk on the ops mission. It was necessary to save trafficked children, and because he was blessed by President Ballard to be a future president of the United States and then prophet of the Mormon Church. President first, because that's the easy part. Then prophet of the Mormon Church. By the way, if you love this content, where else are you going to get this type of content mixed in with all my stories about sexual impropriety in my youth? Where? Where could you get it? Nowhere. So if you enjoy it, go to coldbeer.fund. Leave us a little tip. How about that? Leave us a little cash. Okay? Papa doesn't get all this energy from not doing drugs, and drugs is expensive. If you learned anything else from tonight, drugs is expensive. Thank you. After the women were coerced into engaging in sexual activity with Ballard, he used their encounters to his advantage, sending texts to some of the women that would say something to the effect of, we will have so much shit on each other, we will be deterred into silence on all things forever. Again, setting up this line of like, you did bad things too. Now we're we're in this pact, but it's all approved by the church, so it's good. Beerman doesn't have 10 ballet money. I wish I could set up a nonprofit, and like part of the nonprofit was going to strip clubs, doing drugs, and drinking beer. If someone would have told me that could be a nonprofit, I would have started it years ago. Fuck this YouTube shit. The fuck? I've told you guys before, all donations go into a general cocaine and hookers fund. And here we sat. No cocaine and no hookers because you guys ain't funding me. If you want to help somebody, you got to help yourself, and you guys are not helping me and Scott. Why, Joes? I don't understand it. Ballard gave the women burner phones to use and had them use Signal, a messaging app that keeps communication private, and he frequently demanded that the women erase the digital traces of his conversation with them each night. Of course. Signal was made by the military to give to the Q-tards. Duh. What about Ollie's operation? Ollie's operation is he's gonna have his operation on the main stage. Okay? There's gonna be fucking glitter and pussy sweat infections going around. You know what I'm saying? He says, Lady Cinnamon. Anyways. Ballard also threatened the women that he was tracking them with their burner phones and company phones he provided. He threatened that he was tracking them. Additionally, he required the women he asked to go on ops as part of the couples rules to sign NDAs. Wait, are we gonna have to see if Phil will let them divulge what their NDAs say? It says that these NDAs come from Tim Ballard. They violated their NDAs. There ain't nothing I like more. There ain't nothing. Ain't nothing in this world better than a fucking freshly waxed, sweaty pussy that's put in a hard day's work. A blue collar pussy. You know what I'm saying? None of this 9 to 5 banker's hours pussy. I want a pussy that look like it can dig a ditch. Operate a crane claw machine. Hard-working pussy. Additionally, he required the women ops NDA, claiming it was required to protect the safety of the children and the participants. Ballard would then threaten to sue the women if they ever disclosed anything about his tactics, practice ops, or the couple's ruse. At least 2 marriages have broken up as a result of Tim Ballard's actions with these. Now, you can't tell me. Like, there might be fake claims, but you can't tell. We're talking about hard-working pussies, Cindy. Hard-working pussies. Fucking pussy that's built like a brick shit house. Got the smell, too, sometimes. You can't tell me that these good Mormon women who were just volunteering to raise kids, that their marriages broke up and these are just false accusations. False accusations made marriages break. Get the fuck out of here. Ballard offered to pay for the divorce attorney of one of his victims and had a henchman call and threaten her husband on voice message, resulting in the police being called and an investigation conducted. Oh no, this guy's almost as dumb as Phil. Finally, in the spring of 2023, some of the female employees of OUR who had been on these couples' ruse ops or practices came forward to OUR management in the spring of 2023, spring of this year. OUR had its law firm, Holland and Hart, conduct an external investigation, which investigation verified the victim's claims. Oh no. So OUR told their own law firm, the law firm that represents Tim and his company, we want you to do an external investigation about these claims. And the law firm came back and verified the victim's claim. This is already settled, bro. This is already settled. This is already done. OUR then terminated Tim Ballet. This is already done. It's over. He ain't getting no hard work of pussy at that new place. OUR's board of directors, most of whom are related to Tim Ballard, that's true, brother-in-laws, cousins, uncles, whatever, are his good or are his good friends, opposed the firing and came to Tim Ballard's aid. A joint plan was hatched between OUR and Ballard, whereby he would resign ostensibly because of the appearance of a conflict of interest with the release of Sound of Freedom, in which he has a financial interest in. Ballard would take a very lucrative severance agreement and remain the face of OUR so it could continue to raise money. All smooth and wound up. More like all smooth and dick down. Fucking friction burns on their butt cheeks from where he wouldn't penetrate them, but he'd slide in there as hard as he could. A lot of soaking, huh? Tell him, Doctor. Tell him about soaking, Dr. J. You know. Tell him about those 7 years before you got married and all the soaking you did. As part of the plan, everyone was required to sign an NDA. With his image intact, Ballard began the Spear Fund, which he is able to continue raising money from well-intentioned people wanting to end human trafficking. A con man. OUR remained silent, using his face and the worldwide opening tour of Sound of Freedom to raise money and allowing Ballard to continue his grooming, drinking, and sexual deviancy. All paid for by the donors. Look, there's nothing wrong. I am a drinking and drug-fueled sexual deviant. But I tell you that when you donate, okay? I tell you that. Hell, I do. I fucking show you the drugs. Do them on here. Talk about the experiences, right? I don't drink anymore. But I talk about being a sexual deviant all the time. At least you know what you're getting into. I can't tell you that I'm raising money to fucking send puppies to heaven while I'm raising money to fuck strippers and do blow. Okay? Jesus Christ, dude. To be quite honest, I'm just gonna say it. Besides the tricking women and convincing women and intimidating women, like the sexual impropriety, I think Tim Ballard's a whole lot cooler now. I think he's a whole lot cooler now. Finally, some of the victims of Ballard's sexual exploits are boldly coming forward and are filing this action for their damages, holding the defendants responsible for the outrageous behavior to punish defendants for their actions, to try to prevent them from acting again, and to bring light to who and what Tim Ballard is, so that the humble, very well-intentioned donors across the world can decide with open eyes whether to donate to Ballard and his organizations. Here's the problem we got in the world right now, though. No one trusts the media. No one trusts the courts. No one trusts anybody. Instead, you pick the person that you align with politically, and you call everybody else a liar. So win, lose, or draw, in this case, if he settles it, if he pays out millions of dollars, if he loses the case outright, he and his fans are going to say this is the deep state trying to destroy him. They almost did, but he was able to rise like a peen tattooed phoenix, rise right back up into the bedroom and jab it right in. I just want to rub it on the inside of your panties. I don't even want your pussy. If you could just pull them to the side and I'll do one of these, right? I just want the inside of your, it's soft. It's satin or something. You got that little patch there that like catches fucking pussy mucus or something. I just want to rub on that. Okay? I just want to rub in there. What if we seal your pussy with liquid latex? And then whatever I can fit in, I get in. It's not sex. We done close that son bitch up. Right? How about we cast your pussy into a fleshlight? But when we're mixing the silicone, we use holy water. It's your pussy to go from God. How about that? Bing, bong, boom, pussy. All right? Twitter. Upon reasonable belief and inquiry, upon learning of the couple's ruse and how Ballard used it, the Mormon Church excommunicated Ballard. There you go. Upon learning of the couple's ruse and how Ballard used it, the Mormon Church excommunicated Ballard. I told you it was going to be big. I told you it was going to have evidence. I told you it was going to have huge claims. It wasn't just that he used M. Russell Ballard's name for business one time. Get the fuck out of here. He used it to condone fucking these women, fucking up their marriage, convincing them to do sexual acts with them, destroying their fucking marriages, destroying their relationship with their God, destroying everything about them. Ballet has a whole ass cult willing to follow him to the end of the soak sheets. That's right. While they're fucking spasming on the bed. I didn't know God felt like that. The defendants, including and especially Ballard, engaged in fraud in order to engage in sexual relations with the plaintiffs, the fact of which are specifically set forth in each of these plaintiff statements that are attached and incorporated herein. Oh no. Statements. The victim of Tim Ballard's couple's ruse that are not part of this case, and if and when these victims join the case. Plaintiffs incorporate the preceding allegations and the attachments to this complaint as in fully set forth. Defendant Ballard intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly committed battery and sexual assault of plaintiffs, and all sexual touching was done under the couple's ruse in order to help save trafficked children and women. As direct and proximate result of the wrongful conduct of Ballard, plaintiffs have suffered severe emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, and other injuries, all to their great general damages in reasonable sums. As a direct and proximate result of the wrongful conduct of Ballard, plaintiffs have incurred and yet will incur medical and therapy expenses and lost wages, all to their special damages in a reasonable sum. Wherefore, plaintiffs pray for relief set forth below. Plaintiffs incorporate the proceedings, allegations, and attachments to this complaint as is fully set forth herein. The couple's ruse was an institutional doctrine of OUR and its affiliated companies and was done with the knowledge of the... Remember when he did that video and he's like, we worked with some beautiful, beautiful, amazing women who decided that they now want to share what it's like working with me. And I encourage you to listen to their stories, you know, take that in. I'm not the easiest guy to work with. They deserve the recognition that they're about to get, and I think it's wonderful. Can I get a rum and coke, please, while I finish this up? And I just think that you should listen to these women. They're ready to share what it's like working with me. I've been in the spotlight so long, I forgot what it's like to work with me. The defendants intentionally, knowingly, the couple's ruse was an institutional doctrine, blah, blah, blah. It was done with the knowledge of the defendants' management and board members. The defendants intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly solicited, instructed, commanded, encouraged, and or intentionally committed battery and sexual assault on the plaintiffs, all for the sexual gratification of Tim Ballard. The defendants conspired and combined together for the purpose of Ballard being allowed to have sexual relations with the plaintiff. Imagine. Can you imagine if it comes out that he set up this whole fucking thing because he wants to appear to be a good Mormon and a devoted husband, but he just wanted to fuck other bitches? Is that what the whole thing is? The old meat thermometer? Every once in a while, I have to get a more accurate reading from the back door on the ladies with the old meat-mometer. And it'll tell you that she's a scorcher, baby. She's a scorcher. She's running too hot, Captain. She's about to blow. The object of the conspiracy was illegal and carried out as a result of a calculated plan between the defendants. There was a meeting of the minds among the defendants with regard to the couple's ruse and how to allow Ballard to sexually abuse the plaintiffs. There was a meeting of the minds among the board of directors and Ballard with regard to the couple's ruse and how to allow Ballard to sexually abuse. They're saying not only did they find out about this and say, well, we need to save face now that it's happened. You go to this other place, we'll just pretend it didn't happen. Everybody sign an NDA. They knew beforehand and had a meeting of how they could help him fuck other bitches. Hair does interfere with the temperature reading. As a direct and proximate result of the wrongful conduct of the defendants, plaintiffs have suffered emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, and other injuries, all to their general damages in reasonable sums. As a result of proximate result of wrongful conduct of defendants, plaintiffs have incurred and will yet incur medical and therapy expenses and lost wages, all to their special damages in a reasonable sum. Plaintiffs incorporate the proceedings, allegations, and attachments to this complaint, as is fully set herein, more specifically incorporates the statements attached here too. Defendant Ballard made fraudulent statements and actions based upon the couple's ruse. Defendant Ballard's actions and statements towards plaintiffs were fraudulent and were done for Ballard's sexual gratification and pleasure. Ballard made representations about couple's ruse, who approved it, and how it helps in fighting human trafficking, which were false. And the defendant Ballard knew to be false for the purpose of inducing the plaintiffs into participating or attempting to have them participate in the couple's ruse so that Ballard could act out his sexual proclivities. I knew when he got that dick tattoo, dude, when he got that dick tattoo, he was out here to fuck. He wasn't out here for no goddamn kids. Why you need a fucking dick tattoo, bro? It was 6 inches below your belly button. When you got that dick tattoo, you was out here to fuck. Defendant Ballard knew the plaintiffs would act on his representations in ignorance of their falsity, and the plaintiffs did rely upon said representations and were induced to act all to their injury and damage for over 2.5 years. As a direct and proximate result of the wrongful conduct and frauds of defendant Ballard, plaintiffs have suffered severe emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, and other injuries, all to their general damages in reasonable sums. Medical and therapy expenses and lost wages, all to the special damages in a reasonable sum. Defendants developed the couple's ruse and had a meeting of the minds with each other to allow Ballard to make fraudulent statements and actions based upon the couple's ruse. There was a meeting of the minds between the defendants to carry out this fraud upon plaintiffs and others. The sexual actions of Ballard and Cooper set forth in the exhibits to this complaint are based upon false pretense and outright lies, are illegal, criminal, and immoral. Defendants knew that the plaintiff would act on their fraudulent representation in ignorance of their falsity, and the plaintiffs did rely upon said representations and were induced to act, all to their injury and damage. Emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, all the damages in reasonable sums, general damages in reasonable sums, medical and therapy expenses and lost wages, all to their special damages in reasonable sum. The couple's ruse was the institutional doctrine OUR and its affiliated companies and was done with the knowledge of defendants' management and board members. was outrageous and intolerable in that it offended the general accepted standards of decency and morality. As directed and proximate result of the wrongful conduct of defendants, severe emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, and other injuries, all to their general damages, and medical and therapy and lost wages, all to special damages. Plaintiffs, the conduct of defendants as set forth herein was so extreme that it went beyond all possible bounds of decency and is regarded as atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized society. As a direct and proximate result, they have severe emotional distress, permanent injury, loss of self-esteem, and other injuries, and medical and therapy expenses, lost wages. The couple's ruse was an institutional doctrine. OUR and affiliated companies was done with the knowledge of the defendants, management, and board members. The conduct of defendants set forth herein was negligent and violated standards of care required to protect the plaintiffs. Emotional distress, permanent injury, loss, all the same injuries again. At the time of the sexual assaults by Ballard were performed under the guise of the couple's ruse, the OUR defendants were responsible for hiring, appointing, and retaining and supervising Ballard. Said defendants negligently allowed Ballard to continue and develop the couple's ruse, was an intentional doctrine, and its affiliated companies was done with the knowledge of defendants, management, and board members. Was negligent, violated standards of care required to protect the plaintiffs, all the same injuries. Defendants owed duties of care to plaintiffs that they negligently breached by allowing the couple's ruse in the first place and by allowing Ballard to use the couple's ruse to abuse women. Damages. Plaintiffs were business invitees upon Operation Underground Railroad's premises and were owed duties to care for plaintiffs' well-being and safety. By allowing the couple's ruse to knowingly occur on its premises, violated the duties owed by plaintiffs or to plaintiffs. As a direct result, as a direct and proximate result of the wrongful conduct to defend Operation Underground Railroad, plaintiffs have suffered emotional distress, all the same damages. The board defendants are members of the board of the board defendant are members of Defendant Operation Underground Railroad. The board defendants owed the plaintiff's duty of protection, loyalty, duty, care, and utmost good faith. And as this is a nonprofit organization, the board defendants breached the duties by directing company assets and permission to Tim Ballard to carry out the couple's ruse and sexually assault his female victims using this indicia, and I don't know, and resource of OUR. How do you say that? INDICIA? Hold on. Indicia. There you go. Indicia and resources of OUR. Damn. Plaintiffs incorporate the preceding allegations. Defendant Tim Ballard and the corporate defendants are alter egos of each other. The corporate defendants and defendant Tim Ballard should all be treated as one entity to prevent defendants from using the corporate fiction as a tool to inflict civil harm upon plaintiffs. The corporate fiction of the corporate defendants should be disregarded because they have been used as a part of an unfair device to achieve inequitable results, or an inequitable results. The corporate structures of the corporate defendant should not shield fraud, evasion of existing obligations, circumvention of statute, and the like. As a result, the corporate veil should be pierced to provide that all corporate defendants are jointly and severely liable for damages. So again, when we're talking about the corporate veil, what does this mean? When the corporate veil is usually referred to when assets are protected because you have like an LLC, so it doesn't like go to like your private life. But when the corporate veil, that's the separation between assets of a legal entity and personal assets. So that veil has been torn asunder, right? It's down because all of this shit was going on in their personal lives. Plus, they were all friends. Plus, they're all family, and they're still doing all this to fucking torture these women, basically. Are jointly and severely liable for the damages. General damages an amount to be proved at trial. Special damages an amount to be proved at trial. Punitive damages against all defendants in an amount sufficient to punish them and to deter them and others in similar situations from engaging in such conduct in the future. For such other costs, interest, expenses, attorney fees, and other relief, the court finds appropriate under the circumstances. They demand a jury. And I say they'll get one too. And damn, the jury's not going to like this. Wow. Wow. That was the 30 pages of Tim Ballet. Boy, that was a good one. That was a pretty good one. What'd you think? I don't know. Chat didn't seem too interactive. Donations didn't seem too interactive. Did you fucking hate it, chat? Come on. I'm glad somebody's finally standing up to this guy. He's always seemed kind of like a sleazeball to me. Let's see what's on. Let's see what's popping up on YouTube when we search it. Come on. Uh-oh. Attorney General. Let's see what he says.
We'll answer a number of questions. I think our office is going to issue a statement to try to address other questions. We've answered many from the media already. The statement could come today, tomorrow, but we'll address a number of issues that are still being asked about that. One thing I do want to say, because I think they're fair questions, is these allegations, which I believe are serious and ought to be taken seriously, I hope they don't in any way diminish the resolve that we have as a community, as a state, definitely in my office, to continue to attack the issue of human trafficking. Hope it doesn't diminish the urgency that many of us feel to combat what I think.
Barbara, get in the goddamn house and listen to this show. Barbara Antique. I'm out fucking gardening. What in the moonlight?
I think it's a very real crime that affects.
Of course, Eli was. Have you seen how creepy Eli is?
That preys on the most vulnerable amongst, I think, in any way diminish the resolve that we have as a community, as a state, definitely in my office, to continue to attack the issue of human trafficking.
This is a total cop-out. He's being accused of something against other. You should have the same amount of respect and willingness to protect these unnamed women who are citizens of your state as you as Tim Ballard. It's a total cop-out to say, well, we don't want to let this detract from, sex trafficking's bad. Yeah, we get it.
One thing I do want to say, because I think they're fair questions, is these allegations, which I believe are serious and ought to be taken seriously, I hope they don't in any way diminish the resolve that we have as a community.
About time, Barbara Antique.
To continue to attack the issue of human trafficking. Hope it doesn't diminish the urgency that many of us feel to combat what I think is a very real crime that affects real people in the state of Utah. It is a crime that preys on the most vulnerable amongst us. And again, going back to the most vulnerable.
Don't just say Freemasons for everything. Goddamn.
I think our children in the state of Utah are most vulnerable.
It's a total cop-out. That's worse than saying, oh, sex trafficking's bad.
Happy to feel.
What did you know about the couples roof of 2014?
If there are any more questions about TikTok today, is there any more questions about TikTok? Anyone?
What did you know about the couples roof then?
Do we have any more questions about TikTok? Yes.
Not basically a big cop out from Reyes. All aboard the Grifter lawsuit. Why people still want to change their mind. Let's do this. I think we can filter it by upload date. So it'll be the most recent stuff. The whiteboard meeting. Responds to questions. Is this going to be the same thing? For the news is going to cover it?
Said that you going on those ops with him gave.
You're forgiven this time, Barbara Ann. Barbara Ann.
Excuse me, Richard. Gave him cover for.
Keep this to the TikTok topic.
Well, this is a.
We got to keep this to the TikTok topic. The TikTok topic. The TikTok.
relevant question. I want to give you a chance to respond.
2 News pushing for
They are hugging.
Attorney General about his relationship with Operation Underground Railroad's founder, Tim Ballard.
Ballard is being sued now by 5 women who say he used anti-trafficking missions to sexually groom and abuse them.
And the lawsuit also mentions Sean Reyes, Utah's top law enforcement officer, and alleges he used his office to prop up Ballard.
You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling, Bob Moran, Bob Moran.
Yeah, they did, Heidi and Mark. And
who is this ginger son of a bitch?
the Attorney General ended up responding to my questions, but his spokesperson standing off.
He kind of looks like that old gerbil jammer from my news station.
The side of him seemed determined not to let me get there. Attorney General Reyes, I wanted to give you a chance to respond. Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes is mentioned in a lawsuit against Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard. 5 women say Ballard sexually harassed and assaulted them on anti-trafficking missions. They also say Reyes joined Ballard on one of those missions, quote, giving Ballard the cover of the top law enforcement officer in the state of Utah to carry out his purposes.
So when he's connected to the largest church, you're part of that church, he's connected to the president, he's connected to the president's daughter, he's connected to the leader of that church, right? The Quorum of 12, and M. Russell Ballard, the leader of that. He's connected to Sean Reyes. He just had this movie come out, and people are basically in your little sphere of influence. People are basically worshiping him for what he's. It'd be hard to come out against the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're a woman terrified that he's going to ruin your whole fucking life. I guess it's kind of shitty, but it's kind of good in a way that some women already lost their husband and probably already are outcast and already fucking, you know, felt like they had lost everything, because it's kind of, if you still got something where you're like, I haven't lost everything yet, you might be less likely to come out, right? But if he pushed some of these women to where they like lost their husbands or their families, their church, they felt like they've lost everything, right? Those are the women that you got to be scared of. They ain't got nothing to fucking lose. And when they come out, more people will come with them.
Specifically said that you going on those ops with him gave him cover. Excuse me, Richard. As I ask Reyes about this at a news conference, I'm stopped by his spokesperson, Richard Pyatt, who repeatedly tries to talk over me. I want to give you a
TikTok.
Let me just say this. I'm not aware of being named in any complaint.
The lawsuit also claims Reyes supported Ballard even while consumer complaints and criminal investigations were pouring into his office.
Sean Reyes, from what I know about it, Sean Reyes is the biggest distraction for running against or claims against like Tim Ballard, as well as the Mormon church has very, very deep roots with tons of MLMs. And apparently there's like millions, billions of complaints that come in about MLMs that are all usually located in Utah. They're usually really tight. Utah has a lot more lax laws on MLMs. Plus, they're usually really tight with the Mormon church. Lots of Mormon church people do MLMs. And Sean Reyes has been like paid to like speak at like fucking the essential oils MLM and shit. And like apparently all the complaints, when you go to complain about these MLMs, they just fucking disappear. They just fucking disappear. Nobody's checking into them. He has a horrible record for like people claiming to report MLMs and his action he's taken against MLMs in his state.
Regarding the improprieties of OUR and Ballard. But did your office receive complaints about Tim Ballard's conduct?
It's a link, legend. It's a link.
What did you know about the couple?
We're not aware of any complaints that our office received.
Reyes then says he'll release a statement sometime later and acknowledges this.
I think they're fair questions. These allegations, which I believe are serious and ought to be taken seriously, I hope.
Imagine having your spokesperson run interference when you open up for questions. I think when you open up for questions, like, they know what you just talked about. If it's important and they want to ask a question about that, sure, but you ought to be open for any question. Now, if you've already answered the question and said, you know, I've answered that question, I'm not going to say it anymore, and you say that statement, and then they keep asking the same question, that's different. But like a question and answer session ought to be open for anything. If they want to ask you where you fucking parked today, did you pay for parking or did you valet? Like,
they don't.
Who cares?
In any way diminish the resolve that we have as a community, as a state, definitely in my office.
That's a cop-out.
Continue to attack the issue.
No one's asking you because Tim Ballard was coercing women to sleep with him using God and the Mormon church and even you as cover. Should we stop with pursuing sex trafficking? Of course, no one's asking that, you dumb fuck. It's a cop-out.
Of human trafficking. Now, you saw there, Governor Spencer Cox stood next to Reyes during this questioning. Afterwards, I spoke with the
Imagine Elon Musk fucking guts a man in Times Square in New York City on live TV. Cuts him from fucking asshole all the way up to the fucking throat, and his fucking guts fall out in the middle of the street, and he's like, "Fuck you, you dead motherfucker! I killed you." And then when a spokesperson comes out for Tesla or for a SpaceX, and they're like, "What the fuck happened with Elon Musk?" They're like, "Well, I don't think this should change our resolve for going to space. We should still launch rockets, right?" That's not what we fucking asked, dude. That's not what we asked.
Governor, briefly, he told reporters that until he knows exactly what the AG's office knew regarding these allegations, that he can't really comment. Now, if you'd like to watch the full exchange between me, Reyes, and his spokesperson from today, I've posted the entire clip on our KUTV 2 News YouTube page. Live at the Capitol, Daniel Woodruff, KUTV 2 News.
Daniel, thank you. Just about 30 minutes ago, the Spear Fund also...
That's not what he said. He said he's not aware of his name on any complaint. He didn't say he didn't have any complaints. Some of these are going to be way too long. Noah Tim Ballard fam asked him this for me. Let's see what she says.
These women, they were fanatics themselves. They're trying to say, like, we work, in their statement, they're like, we signed up to work for OUR because of our love and dedication.
And they're going to be dismissed as leftist, opportunist, Satanist, coming out to attack him. And honestly, they believed in the mission so much, they volunteered themselves to be part of this. And they're going to be treated like shit from these Q-tards.
To children around the world to save them. Yeah. And so that cannot be, this is not.
Yeah, Skinwalker Ranch is a joke.
A political hit job by some left-wing camp against a right-wing camp, when these are women who were probably on the exact same side as the most.
They're devout Mormons. They used to believe in Tim Ballard and OUR and wanted to save kids. But now they're going to be treated like they got a fucking scarlet letter. And spit upon by all these Q-tards. I don't blame them for not even putting their full name in there, just their initials. Can you imagine all the crazy Q-tards? They're going to think they're part of the deep state to take down Tim Ballard and traffic children or some shit.
Fanatic fans of Tim Ballard. Yeah. And yet, it begs the question, the most fanatic fan of Tim Ballard, what would it take, what evidence would it take for you to actually listen to somebody from your own side who believes all the same things that you did, and that belief itself led them to be exploited? It begs the question, how do you not know that you're not being exploited right now as well? Like your devotion, your following, your comments, your support of Tim Ballard, you're going into all the other comment sections of anyone who has evidence that they're talking about Tim Ballard, and you're dropping all of these insidious, disgusting accusations of people like you and me that we want to keep sex trafficking alive and well, as if Tim Ballard, the one Timothy Ballard of the United States of America, has been set apart by God to end this horrific, disgusting, solely trade.
They'll have threats on all their fucking lives if it leaks out who they are and what they're doing. And I wouldn't put it past Tim Ballard to accidentally leak these people's names. Let's see what the TikTokers are saying. Then we'll move on.
Ballard fans, the lawsuit alleging all the accusations dropped this morning.
Yeah, just Ballard extremists, sure.
Was taking ketamine treatments. Yeah, Special K, K-hole? I've been in them. I know what it's all about. And he was telling us scribe through these ketamine treatments in the K-hole, through the K-hole. He was seeing the dead Nephi on the other side of the K-hole. Nephi was yelling from the other side of the K-hole saying, "Hey, Timothy Ballard, you are the greatest man that's ever lived today since me, and you're going to be the next United States Senator and the next United States President, and then after that you're going to bring in the second coming of Christ. Do you hear me? Yes, I hear you. Thank you, ketamine, K-hole, and dead Nephi from the Book of Mormon." Yeah, I don't think so. The way that he actually used the couple.
Speaking of ketamine, for research purposes only, and 100% super legal purposes. If you're not keeping up with my TikTok, I inoculated three sets of grains. So I did Uncle Ben's Tech, which is where you use Uncle Ben's rice, and I did a mushroomkits.com all-in-one grow bag. One with 10 cc's of it's not spores. Okay, let me explain how mushrooms work. Spores are basically like seeds. Okay, mycelium is what grows from the spores. It is basically like the root system. It's all the root, and it's fuzzy, like mold looking. It's white. It's the root system. Okay, mycelium. And then the actual mushroom that you think of mushroom is called the fruit. Okay, that would be the little toadstool head looking thing. So when you go to do mushrooms, you can do spores, and you insert spores. 2 spores get together. They start making mycelium. That mycelium spreads out. Then when you get it, whatever you got the mycelium in, when you get it full of mycelium to give it its greatest chance of making the most mushrooms, then you put it in some dirt, and the mycelium begins to grow. And once you give it oxygen and light and moisture, mushrooms will pop out of it. Okay, right? I skipped the spore step. One, because the more time that you spend growing mushrooms before you get the mushrooms, the more likely it is that you get. The biggest thing with mushrooms is contamination. Okay, at the same temperature that a fungus and mold grow, the same conditions, fungus and mold grow, so do mushrooms. So like I was wearing a mask and I had a still air box, and I used alcohol to sanitize everything, right? That's the biggest thing is contamination. So I kind of skipped the spores, and what I got was called a liquid culture. What is a liquid culture? They've already mated the spores together and started the mycelium, the root system, in the syringe. Instead of having seeds, it's like if we were growing a tree, instead of having seeds, I have a liquid seedling, basically. So I did not do spores, even though you can buy those. I did liquid culture, and I basically did one big all-in-one grow bag, a big 5-pound all-in-one grow bag, and I did one brand of Uncle Ben's and one off brand of Ready rice, long grain or whole grain, long brown rice, long whole grain brown rice, whatever, no flavoring, just brown rice. And I just did it last night. I did a little video on it. It's kind of a long video. It's like 4 or 5 minutes of me like flame sterilizing everything, alcohol and everything. Why rice? Because it has to have something to eat, and it has to have something that's like porous that it can grow through. Plus, it has to have some type of nutrient to consume. So a lot of people do like rye berries or rice, or some people do popcorn seeds, shit like that. You can look that up, but it has to have something to consume, to eat, to get energy from. Anyways, it all happens kind of anaerobic, even though it's not technically anaerobic. There has to be a fresh air exchange. It basically just puts out just a little bit of CO2. Now, once that root system bricks up, like whatever I've spread it into, once it's full, absolutely full of mycelium, the roots, then the rice bags will have to go to like a substrate, like manure and straw and dirt kind of deal. That all-in-one grow bag's already ready to go. The all-in-one grow bag, once it's full of roots, all I've got to do is cut a hole in it and give it some oxygen and like kind of like do it like an accordion to get oxygen. It's called an air exchange. Put oxygen in there and we'll see mushrooms shoot out. The rice has to go to something else. It has to go to like, I can grow it straight out of the rice, but it's not recommended. You'll see people on the internet that'll grow straight from a rice, like an Uncle Ben's rice bag, but they don't get a very good yield. But I'm going to have to, it's called spawn to bulk. So I'm going to have the spawn, the mycelium, and I'm going to put it in a bulk substrate. So it's 2 different tactics that I'm trying here, and I've got 3 chances of getting it with no contamination. So wish me luck, and we'll see what we can do. I'm hoping the all-in-one bag is probably my safest bet because it was the first one I did with a sterile needle. I wiped it down really good. It's got an injection port that like self-seals. So when I put that needle in there and did it and pulled the needle out, it seals up. It's got a piece of rubber in there. The Uncle Ben's bag didn't. I had to put tape over it. So you need a little bit of air exchange, but you don't want a lot of oxygen in there until you're ready for the mushrooms to pop up. So follow it on TikTok. I checked it today. Obviously, there's not been no growth in one day, but these grow really, really fast. Like, I'm talking about like having like pin dots, little mushrooms one day, and 24 hours later having full size, like 5-inch. You've seen how fast mushrooms grow in your yard, right? Like it rains and it fucking goes insane. So once it starts taking off, it'll go really fast. So I'm not going to do updates every day until we start seeing some mycelium growing. And then once we start seeing that every day, I'm going to do it. And then hopefully I plan on taking at least one of those, probably whichever one's slowest, going, which will probably be one of the rice ones because they didn't get much. They only got a half a cc each of the liquid culture. The all-in-one grow bag got 10 cc's. But whichever one's the slowest, I want when it starts the actual, not the mycelium, not the roots, when the actual mushrooms start growing up, I'm going to try to set up a time-lapse camera and maybe even, I thought even about doing a live stream. If I'm going to be recording it anyways for a time-lapse, I thought about doing a live stream and then I can just, once that live stream's over, even if it's 24 hours or fucking 5 days or whatever on TikTok with a spare phone, once that live stream's over, I'll just grab that video and compress it to make the time lapse. How do you get them in chocolate? You dry either way. You dry them out when they're done growing, and they usually lose about 90% of their weight is water. So you dry them out to their bone dry to where they snap, and then if you're going to put them in chocolate or something like that, you grind them up like in a coffee grinder or a weed grinder or whatever, and you make a powder, and then that powder goes in the chocolate. So either way, if you want to watch that, that's all on my TikTok. I'm not going to do it here on YouTube or Twitch or nothing. Go everything to, yeah, that's why I like the all-in-one grow box. The all-in-one grow bag, I don't have to transfer it at all. Most people either get it during the injection or more often when they move it to whatever they're doing. They'll get some type of contamination. But the all-in-one grow bag, I don't have to ever move it. It's going to be in that bag until I harvest it. I'm going to do it's called a hoodie method. So basically I'm going to cut an air hole. And when I start getting mushrooms, I'm going to cut 3 sides of the top of the bag, fold it over, get my mushrooms out, close it back up like almost like a hoodie, like you're wearing a hoodie, and then fold it back over and then go for another flush. So that's the reason I picked the all-in-one grow bag, is because I was so worried. Most people get contamination when they go from the mycelium, the root system, to then move it to a new box to try to get the actual mushrooms or to let the mycelium grow more to everything, then get mushrooms. But hopefully that won't be that big a deal. When all-in-one grow bag, I won't get as much, so I won't the harvest one is be as big as if I spread it out in a fucking big ass tote. But I should have to worry less about contamination. So we'll see. If you want to follow that, just follow on TikTok. I'm not going to put it here. I'm going to have it on TikTok and maybe, like I said, live streams, time lapses, and just videos of me checking on it every day once I start seeing some stuff. So, yeah, you all can check that out over on TikTok. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to wrap up now, even though that's a little bit early. I'm trying to set my schedule back up to where I get here earlier and can start doing Patreon, kick pre-stream, stuff like that. I'm still working on it. I only got like 2 hours of sleep last night. I've been going to sleep at for some reason, I've been going to sleep at like 4, and I wake up every morning at 6:15 on the dot for like 2 weeks. I have no idea why. So we'll see. I'm trying to get back in the swing of things and get everything set up and fix I'm so scared everybody's going to leave fucking Patreon because I haven't put out content like I'm supposed to be. And that's one of the biggest income generators we have. That's what keeps the fucking office paid for. So I got to fix my schedule and quick. Thank you guys for joining us. We had a couple donations come in. Thank you for that. And we'll see everybody on the next one. Have a good night. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. If you can afford it and you feel like you should, or you like the content, feel like we deserve it, please go to coldbeer.fund. Make a contribution to the show. We would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, You don't have the fork in.
Yeah, so I did do a lot of research, just like watching videos, and there's a lot more research out there now too. But what I'm still like, it doesn't. The contamination that ends up in it, the mold and stuff that ends up in, it's everywhere. It's in the air already. It's probably on your skin. It's probably on your clothes. It's on your fucking breath. Like so it's so easy. If you don't have what they call a flow hood, which pushes air through a HEPA filter, and like it's a solid stream of air that doesn't tumble at all. If you don't have a flow hood, you're basically risking it. No matter how cleanly you are, you're still risking it every time, and that's what I'm worried. I don't want to lose them all. If I lose 2 of them and only 1 of them works, that's good for me. You know what I'm saying?
Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip, worshiping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit, swinging.
Yeah, right, legend. They're gonna double down and be like, "Told you they'd come after him as soon as he made a child trafficking movie."
God burst. I'll be your huckleberry. I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set.
It's been exactly 24 hours right now because I did the injection and recorded the video yesterday after the stream, so that's a good way to keep up with it. I'm just calling it basically 1 a.m. is when I started on, and then 24. Mushrooms are weird at Suco, so they grow in the wild all the time. Like they grow in the yard, and the house where I live now, the house I lived before, the house I lived before that, fucking mushrooms grow in the yard in like a damp area of the yard. But when you're trying to grow a specific species inside, contamination, so like they grow in cow shit sometimes. But when I try to grow them inside in temperature controlled environment, they're like, nope, here's some fucking mold. And if they get mold, you got to throw the whole batch out. Actually, if you open that bag, like say one of my bags gets mold in it, and I open my bag in this office, the other 2 will probably get, if I don't see it before I open it, the other 2 will probably get fucked as well.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place.
I'll check it out.
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got frog news network doing no damn research. They be working copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, 2nd string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending bronze to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. I can't wait till it starts growing where I can start doing like daily updates. I think that'll get people interested in on TikTok because I know I'll watch those types of videos. So we'll see. I didn't post a replay on YouTube from last night because it was in 2 parts, all messed up, and part of it was missing. But I'll post tonight's replay tomorrow. Time lapse 100%. I think a time lapse would be cool because like once they start fruiting, in like 3 days they're ready to pick from all the way from just barely coming out of the ground like a pin dot to like 3 days they're done. You want to pick them. So when a mushroom grows, underneath the cap is a thing called the veil, and that's kind of like a skin on the bottom of it that holds the spores in, and you want to get it just as it starts to tear. If the veil falls, the spores will fall, and it'll signal the ground to stop producing mushrooms because it's done its job. They've reproduced. The seeds are back, the spores. So you want to get it when it's its biggest and just about to tear the veil, but hasn't dropped the spores yet. If you wait too long, it's fine. You just won't get 2nd and 3rd grows. They call them flushes. You won't get good ones from that, but we'll see. I'm going to try to stay on top of it and do a good job and stay clean and alcoholed up. I even washed all my forearms, wiped my face with it, had a mask on, gloves, had a still air box. Well, homemade still air box. We'll see. See you guys. That's awesome, Mitsuko.